At the story's outset, a bustling mountain is depicted, its slopes covered with numerous houses. At its base, people labor relentlessly, crafting a mysterious substance. Among them, a curious girl dips her finger into the mixture and tastes it, excitedly exclaiming that it's candy. Her disruption frustrates the workers, and one angrily pushes her away, causing her to fall. Nearby laborers pause to watch the commotion. This is when we meet Li Hua Wang, the protagonist, who glares at the girl and snaps, "Foolish girl, this isn't candy, it's medicine." He mutters under his breath, "No matter how much you explain, they'll never understand." The girl stares at him blankly, her desire for the substance undeterred. The other workers seem strange, their behavior hinting at a lack of comprehension or morality. Madness seems to hang in the air. Suddenly, a sharp cry pierces the murmur of activity. Li Hua Wang turns to see a man grabbing a white-haired girl roughly. With a cruel laugh, the man sneers, "I want to play with your body," his intentions clear. The girl pleads, "Don't do this," her helplessness evident. Yet her cries only provoke grotesque laughter from those around them. Furious, Li Hua Wang picks up a tool and hurls it at the man, striking him on the head. The man yells in pain as the white-haired girl hides behind Li Hua Wang. Seething, the injured man growls, "You've made a huge mistake. When the master hears of this, you'll be dead." Unmoved, Li Hua Wang coldly replies, "I'm not afraid of the master. To me he's nothing." His boldness leaves everyone stunned. No one had ever spoken of the master with such defiance. The injured man sneers, warning, "You'll regret this." Before long, a guard arrives, his mere presence silencing the scene. Dressed in white, he announces, "The master has summoned Li and Wang." Wang is revealed to be the candy-obsessed girl. Ecstatic, she skips after the guard, convinced the master has called her to give her more candy. As they proceed, the white-haired girl clings to Li Hua Wang's clothes, pleading, "Don't go. It's too dangerous." But Li Hua Wang brushes her off, determined. The candy-obsessed girl remains blissfully unaware, humming and skipping along. As they leave the mountain, Li Hua Wang reflects on his anger, questioning why he let himself get so involved. His thoughts are interrupted when the girl playfully pushes him. Irritated, he grabs her hand and demands, "What is your problem?" She innocently asks, "Do you want candy?" Without responding, he accepts the substance she offers, knowing it's the medicine they've been making. They reach the master's domain, where a fire blazes beneath a massive pot. The master, a grotesque figure with bloody teeth, turns to them laughing. "You made me wait," he says, his voice dripping with malice. Suddenly, he grabs the candy-obsessed girl by the neck and hurls her into the boiling pot. She squeals, "Is this candy, master? Did you throw me in here to give me so much candy?" Even as her body is crushed and twisted, her delusion persists. Li Hua Wang watches in horror, paralyzed. The girl's screams echo as the master reduces her to a paste, her broken body fueling the fire. The realization hits Li Hua Wang like a blow. The medicine they've been making is crafted from human remains. Overcome, Li Hua Wang begins to whisper, "This isn't real. This is all a lie." Yet the stench from the cauldron rises, and the master inhales it with satisfaction, reveling in the twisted reality of their world. At the heart of the narrative, Li's persistent refrain, "This is all fake. Nothing is real," sets the tone for a startling turn of events. While muttering to himself, Li's words unintentionally catch the ear of his master, who misinterprets them as an insult, thinking Li has called him "fart master." Enraged, the master demands an explanation, shouting, "What did you say? What am I?" Li, lost in his own thoughts, continues murmuring, "This is all fake. This master's voice is fake." Frustrated by Li's apparent disregard, the master attacks him, furious at being ignored. But before the confrontation escalates, reality begins to unravel. Li's body starts to disappear, glowing with an intense green light, until the scene freezes entirely. The next moment, Li awakens in a hospital. Restrained and surrounded by silence, he hears only the rhythmic beeping of machines and his own heartbeat. He is alone in a stark room, his surroundings contrasting sharply with the chaotic hallucination he just experienced. It becomes clear that Li is hospitalized, and his condition takes the story in an unexpected direction. A doctor enters, asking Li about his latest hallucination. Li, distressed, describes witnessing horrifying events, a master crushing a girl into paste and turning her remains into medicine. Even as he recounts the vision, Li struggles to understand its meaning, questioning if there's a deeper connection or purpose behind these vivid, seemingly real experiences. The doctor listens attentively, documenting Li's account on a tablet, but dismisses Lee's musings about justice and purpose. None of this is true, the doctor insists. Lee, however, finds little solace in the familiar dismissal, his frustration evident. The doctor warns that Lee must accept these visions as illusions to leave the hospital. Until then he will remain confined. It's revealed that Lee is in a mental hospital, and his isolation weighs heavily on him. The doctor reiterates, when you stop seeing all this as real, you'll be able to leave. After the doctor departs, Lee gazes longingly, yearning for freedom and normalcy. Shortly after, a girl enters the room, her cheerful demeanor a stark contrast to Lee's despair. She overheard part of the doctor's words and optimistically tells Lee, "You can leave the hospital soon." The girl, Nana, is Lee's childhood friend. Her affectionate gaze and efforts to cheer him reveal her deep care for him. Smiling, Nana produces a surprise from her bag, Lee's schoolbooks. She explains that the exams are 6 months away, and she convinced their teacher to lend the books so Lee could study and stay on track. However, Lee reacts with mock dismay, jokingly asking, "Is this a gift? What kind of gift is this?" Though playful, Lee's resistance hints at his deeper struggles. Bored and confined, he finds little motivation, but Nana's presence seems to momentarily lift his spirits. As the scene unfolds, the story subtly intertwines hope with Lee's ongoing battle against his haunting hallucinations and the confines of his reality. Now, Lee's childhood friend Nana has brought schoolbooks from the teacher to help him prepare for his exams, allowing him to study while in the hospital. But instead of being happy about this, Lee feels even more bored at the thought of studying. Nana, noticing his reaction, takes one of the books and playfully hits him on the head, saying, "Do you really think I'd only bring books to increase your stress? Do you think I'm such a bad friend?" She then smiles and pulls out a video game from her bag. Lee, excited to take the game, reaches for it, but Nana teasingly pulls it away, saying, "First call me big sister, then I'll give it to you." Reluctantly, Lee calls her big sister, leaning in close to her face to say it. This makes Nana shy as she notices how close he is, feeling his breath on her face. Blushing, she quickly hands him the game. As soon as Lee gets the game, he lies down and starts playing immediately, ignoring everything else. While playing, he remarks, "Maybe passing the time in this hospital won't be so difficult now because of this game." He looks genuinely happy, grateful to his friend for bringing him something enjoyable. Nana watches him with loving eyes and says, "Don't spend the whole day playing games. You should study too. That's why I brought the books for you." But Lee ignores her advice, completely engrossed in the game. At this point, Nana reminds him of their childhood promise. Lee suddenly stops playing, his expression growing serious. He says, "Yes, I remember. We promised to go to college together. I haven't forgotten." He then leans closer to her and adds, "We'll join the same college and I'll leave this hospital soon. I'll get better and try my best." Overcome with emotion, Lee hugs Nana tightly. Nana, hearing his words, smiles warmly and hugs him back just as tightly, both feeling hopeful about the future they dream of together. For a moment, everything feels brighter. Time passes as they continue talking, but it gets very late, and Lee realizes that Nana might be delayed in getting home. Concerned, he offers to walk her to the hospital gate. Nana agrees, and as Lee begins to put on his slippers, something unexpected happens. A sudden, unbearable headache grips Lee. The pain is so intense that he can barely stand. Holding his head, he mutters, "What's happening to me?" He grabs onto the nearby table to steady himself, feeling like his head might explode. That's when his eyes land on something familiar, the medicine pestle from his hallucinations. It's lying on the table just like in the visions he had described. Shocked and confused, Lee wonders if he is hallucinating again, but this time it feels different. Unlike before, the hallucinations seem to be manifesting in the real world. While he stands there, overwhelmed by pain, Nana notices and asks, "What's wrong? Are you okay? Does your head hurt? Please tell me what's happening." But Lee doesn't answer her. Instead, he mutters to himself, "I've done everything the doctor said. I've taken all the medicine. Why is this still happening to me?" His frustration grows as he realizes that despite following all the instructions, nothing has improved. Suddenly, Lee forces himself to stop and pretends everything is fine. Smiling weakly, he says to Nana, "Did I scare you? I was just joking." He tries to laugh it off as if it were a prank, concealing his pain and confusion. Nana, however, doesn't find it funny. She turns her back to him, saying, "Stop doing childish things. You scared me. You're not a kid anymore, so don't joke about serious matters like this." Angry and upset, she starts walking away. Lee, realizing he has upset her, calls out, "Wait." I was just joking. Don't be mad at me. He looks back at the table to check if the pestle is still there, but it's gone. Confused, he wonders if it was just another hallucination. Deciding it's best not to dwell on it, Lee follows Nana to apologize. When he catches up, he asks her to forgive him. Nana, still playful, touches his cheek with her finger and says, "I'll come visit you again next week. Take care of yourself, eat properly, and don't forget to study the book I brought you." Her words reveal how much she cares for Lee. Hearing them, Lee smiles and says, "Okay, I'll take care of myself. You take care too." As Nana walks out of the hospital gate, she waves goodbye. Lee raises his hand, calling out loudly, "Take care of yourself, Nana." Watching her leave, he feels grateful for her support and love, even as his mind remains burdened by his worsening condition and the strange connection between his hallucinations and reality. After Nana left, Lee returned to his room in the hospital, but his mind remained fixated on the medicine pestle he saw earlier. Walking slowly, he muttered to himself, "Has my mental health gotten worse?" This was the first time his hallucinations seemed to intrude into reality, and the thought made him anxious. Until now, his hallucinations only occurred when he closed his eyes, transporting him to that strange world. But now, he was seeing elements of those visions in real life. Fear crept in as he thought about the implications. If his condition worsened, he might not be able to go to college with Nana as they had planned. The promise they made might be broken. He shook his head, recalling his father's reassurances that the doctor treating him was excellent and would cure him soon. Lee trusted his father deeply, believing that he must have chosen the best doctor. Determined to hold on to that hope, he raised his hand and shouted aloud, "I'm going to go completely crazy staying in this place with all these lunatics." As his voice echoed through the hallway, he suddenly felt something in his pocket. Confused, he paused and reached inside, saying to himself, "What's in my pocket?" He was certain he hadn't placed anything there. Pulling the object out, Lee's eyes widened in shock. It was the same candy the white-haired girl had given him in his hallucination. His heart raced as he stared at it, unable to comprehend how it could have ended up here. "This is the same candy the girl gave me," he whispered. "How did it get into my pocket?" His hands trembled as he held the candy. Desperate to determine if it was real, he decided to test it. Putting it in his mouth, he was overwhelmed by its taste. It was disturbingly sweet yet carried an unsettling undertone. His stomach churned as he remembered how that candy was made in the hallucination, by crushing humans into paste. Lee's thoughts spiraled. If his hallucinations were manifesting in reality, what did that mean for his condition? He clutched the candy, now more desperate than ever for answers. If the doctor sees this, maybe he'll understand what's happening to me. Maybe I'm not crazy after all, he reasoned. Hope flickered in his chest as he thought this might lead to his discharge from the hospital. But just as he started running toward the doctor's office, he stopped abruptly. A chilling realization struck him. If the things I get in my hallucinations appear in reality, he said to himself, then this could be an opportunity. His eyes gleamed with a strange intensity, glowing faintly in the dim light of the corridor. Lee's face twisted into an unsettling expression, his mind racing with possibilities. Deciding to keep this revelation to himself, he pocketed the candy and turned away. Whatever his plan was, he wasn't going to share it with the doctor just yet. Later, we see Lee in his hallucinatory world, shouting at the strange inhabitants, "Do you people have money? Silver? Gold? Anything?" His voice echoed, but the people around him only stared blankly, unable to comprehend his words. Frustrated, Lee sighed. "No matter how much I explain, you won't understand. You're all addicts, too far gone to grasp what I'm saying," he muttered under his breath. The people scratched their heads, staring at him with vacant expressions. Suddenly, the white-haired girl called out to him, "Lee brother, can you come here for a moment?" She gestured for him to follow her to a quiet corner. Curious, Lee followed. When they were alone, the girl reached down and revealed a small gold bracelet hidden around her ankle. Smiling warmly, she handed it to him. "Here, Lee brother. I've kept this safe, but I want you to have it," she said softly. Lee was taken aback. "Why are you giving this to me?" he asked. The girl looked down, her voice wistful. "You saved me before and I trust you. Besides, I have no use for it here. I'll never leave this place." Lee examined the bracelet carefully. "It's small but it's real gold," he murmured. Pocketing it, he promised, "I'll return this to you someday." To thank her, Lee handed her a piece of candy. "This is really good. Try it," he said, smiling. It wasn't the same candy she had given him before. This one was real. How Lee obtained it remained a mystery for now. The girl accepted the candy with a shy smile, But as this exchange took place, the other people around them started laughing eerily, their eyes glinting with a sinister light. Among the crowd, a man sneered, "This is getting interesting." Their laughter grew unsettling, making the atmosphere tense. Just then, a guard appeared and barked, "What are you all doing standing around? Get back to work." The laughter ceased instantly and the people scattered, their expressions fearful. It was clear that they were terrified of the guards and the master who controlled this world. The guard's eyes scanned the crowd and he growled, "You weren't brought here to waste time. Focus on your tasks." Lee stood still, clutching the gold bracelet in his pocket. His thoughts churned as he formulated his next move. The guard then looks at Lee and the white-haired girl. Because they were the reason everyone had gathered there. The guard notices Lee taking the gold and gives him a very suspicious look, thinking to himself, "Are you planning to make medicine with that gold?" The guard is suspicious of what he is going to do with the gold, because he will never be able to leave this place. So what is the use of taking it? Lee keeps looking at the guard with his sharp eyes. And maybe he was thinking, why is the guard looking at me for so long? Before leaving, the guard tells Lee, "Get back to work. If the master's medicine is not ready on time, he'll turn you into the medicine." The guard had something shiny tied with a rope around his waist, and it was glowing brightly. Lee notices it and asks, "Is that an ancient jade pendant?" Looking at it, Lee smiles, and from his expression, we understand that he wants to take it. He feels it must be very ancient and old, so if he could somehow take it to his world, he could sell it and get a lot of money. Later, at 3 a.m. when everyone is asleep, Lee sneaks into the guard's cave to take that object. He finds it very easily because it glows brightly in the night. His luck was good because the guard had apparently gone outside on patrol during the night. Lee might have known this, which is why he timed it perfectly. Holding the jade pendant in his hand, Lee says to himself and thinks of his childhood friend Nana. Maybe now I can pay the college fees and cover my hospital expenses. Lee is very poor, which is why he is doing all this. This is also the reason he initially asked everyone for any gold or silver, so he could take it back to the real world, sell it, and end the poverty for both himself and his childhood friend Nana. With great happiness he runs down the stairs, holding the pendant tightly, saying excitedly, "I found an antique pendant. I found a pendant." As he rushes down the stairs he notices a light. It looks like someone is coming up the stairs. He thinks it could be a guard, and if they see him at this time, it could become a big problem. Lee panics completely and has no idea what to do. Just then, the terrifying guard appears behind him and says quietly, "What are you doing here so late at night?" Hearing this, Lee is utterly shocked. He can't even bring himself to turn around. He's so scared, thinking that he has been caught. He imagines the guard might report him to the master, who will punish or even kill him. This is the same guy from whose cave he stole the jade pendant. Lee turns around, trembling, and says, "I didn't do anything. I was just passing through." But then he notices the guard's clothes, which are different, so he asks why the guard is dressed like that. The guard doesn't answer and instead grabs Lee by his clothes, dragging him along. While dragging him, the guard says, "People are escaping from here and you'll have to come with us." There were other guards with him, and as they pulled Lee along, one of them added, "If you stay here you'll die one day." Lee asks in disbelief, "Are you guys really escaping from this place?" He finds it hard to believe because they are all guards, and the idea of guards running away surprises him. Suddenly the angry guard shoves Lee roughly and yells, "You'll never be able to escape from this place if you don't come with us. What did you think? That you could bribe us with money and tips to get out of here?" It's then that Lee realizes the guard must have assumed that when he collected gold from the girl and asked others for money, his plan was to gather everything and bribe the master or the guards to escape from this place. This is why the guard seems so suspicious of him. But in reality, Lee was collecting all of this so he could take it to his world and use it to help his friend and end his poverty, something the guard didn't know. But the biggest thing is that all the guards want to escape from here, which shows how dangerous this place is. This is where the story takes a different turn, because Lee thought that maybe the master and the guards had some kind of freedom in this place. But now even the guards want to escape. You can imagine how dangerous this place really is. Lee doesn't say anything to the guard and thinks to himself, "No matter what happens, I'll return to my real world. I've gotten what I wanted." He presses his eyes tightly, trying to hold back the emotions, to stay focused on the hospital. So Lee acted this way because if he had stayed in that place, they might have taken him away, potentially leading to a fight. Anything could have occurred. That's why he came out of the hallucination, believing that by doing so, everything would stop, as it was his hallucination. Hence he closed his eyes and returned to the real world. When his eyes opened, it was nighttime and he found himself tied to the bed. Maybe the doctor was also asleep. Whenever Lee closes his eyes, the doctor likely restrains him to prevent him from escaping. It's possible that while Lee is trapped in his hallucinatory world, the doctor takes certain actions. This could explain why the doctor keeps him bound. Looking around, Lee mutters to himself that it's still very late at night, and the nurses are probably all asleep. He feels the need to check if the pendant and gold he took have made their way into this reality. However, if a nurse were there, they might have untied his hands and feet, allowing him to verify it. For now, he must wait until morning as he has no other choice. So, Lee closes his eyes once more to see what's happening in that other place since there's nothing else to do at this late hour. When he returns to that place, he finds himself standing there again, and it seems all the guards have left. Perhaps they fled, leaving him behind. Laughing, he says, "This is my hallucination. No one can harm me because none of this is real. How could they hurt me?" He laughs again. Then, in the early morning within the hallucination, a man rushes into a cave shouting, "Wake up, everyone. The master has summoned us immediately. Hurry." His tone suggests something urgent has happened. Possibly the guards have deserted. Realizing this, the master must have called everyone. The people, now awake, murmur among themselves, wondering why they were summoned so abruptly. One man warns, "Let's move quickly, or we'll be in serious trouble if we're late." Meanwhile, Lee lies deep in thought. He knows why the master called everyone. It's because the guards have fled. Soon, the people gather at the place the master designated. Likely, many individuals work there, which is why such a large crowd has assembled. They whisper among themselves, "What happened? Do you know why we're here?" The master emerges from his home and addresses the crowd, "Are you all here?" Lee, standing nearby, thinks, "What is this old man up to now? He treats us like dogs, summoning us at his whim. Anyone who's late gets killed on the spot." The master continues, "Last night at 3 a.m., some of my own guards tried to escape." The master then reveals 4 individuals tied with ropes. Lee, shocked, realizes this is why everyone was called, to witness what happens to those who try to flee. The master announces, "This betrayal has deeply hurt me. My most trusted guards attempted to run away without informing me." He drags the tied guards in front of the workers and proclaims, "Here the rules are simple, rewards for loyalty, death for betrayal." He likely summoned everyone to witness this horrifying punishment as a warning against escape attempts. One of the tied guards looks at Lee, terror written across his face. He knows his end is near. Lee observes the scene and mutters to himself, "How quickly they were caught. Pathetic. These guards knew the place better than anyone and still failed." The master then yanks on the rope, performs some kind of magic and shouts, "Open!" The ground splits apart and black, octopus-like tentacles emerge, brutally killing the 4 guards in a grotesque manner. Their screams pierce the air, horrifying everyone present, including Lee. Unable to watch, Lee hears only the anguished cries, which shake him to his core. Trembling, he starts repeating to himself, "This isn't real. None of this is real. It's all a hallucination." He tries to calm himself, recalling the doctor's words, not to take these illusions seriously. But then, a black tentacle appears near him, carrying one of the guards impaled on it. Seeing this, Lee freezes in shock. He begins questioning his reality. Did I create something so terrifying? Could the guard's pain be real? But how? To steady himself, he reminds himself of the doctor's advice and convinces himself that his fear is making the hallucination more intense. "It's all fake. None of it can hurt me," he repeats. Above, the master declares, "Anyone who tries to escape will face this fate or worse." Laughing, he adds, "I might even use their bodies for medicine." It becomes clear the master is using people in his experiments to achieve immortality. As the master walks by Lee, he asks, "Why didn't you try to escape with them?" This reveals the master knew of the guard's plans involving Lee. But Lee remains silent, thinking, "This is just a hallucination. I don't need to fear him." The master places a hand on Lee's head and says, "Good. You made the right choice by not joining them. You'll no longer be a mere worker. You'll manage the supply room." Lee realizes he's been promoted, a safer and better position, but he also knows this favor comes with risks. Before leaving, the master gives Lee a new name, Zhuanyang, after one of the guards he just killed. This unnerves Lee as it shows how little human life is valued here. The master hands Lee a bag containing 5 pills, explaining, "Each pill extends your life by 10 years and enhances your strength. Use them wisely." He laughs, adding, "Here good deeds bring rewards and betrayal brings death." Lee reflects on his situation, realizing that while he has been rewarded, the danger remains ever present. Then he snaps out of his hallucination and returns to his reality. He finds it hard to believe that everything he had brought back from there now exists in the real world as well. Placing everything on the bed, he examines it closely. Perhaps it was just an illusion. That's why he needed to carefully check if it was real or not. To uncover the truth, he would have to show it to someone. Lee then stares at the pill in his hand with astonishment. If everything the master said was true, consuming this pill would not only drastically enhance his strength but also prolong his life. A very enticing prospect. Talking to himself, he wonders if it would really work. But how could he find out? Hesitantly, he decides to use its power to confirm. Just as he's about to take the pill, his friend Nana bursts through the door furiously, almost breaking it open. "Why did you call me here? What's so urgent?" she demands. "I left my class, skipped my meal, and rushed over because you said it was important. You made it sound like an earthquake hit. What's going on? Do you have something serious to say? If this is just another prank or act like last time, tell me now. You'll regret wasting my time." Lee doesn't respond and quietly walks to close the door. Looking around cautiously, he locks the door and shuts the windows too. Seeing this, Nana feels awkward and stammers, "What are you doing? Why are you closing everything? There are cameras in this room and the nurse can hear us. If we do anything, they'll know." Nana assumes Lee might want to kiss her, or perhaps something more, which makes her even more flustered. When she mentions that the nurse might overhear them, the speaker suddenly crackles and the nurse, laughing, teases them. "Go ahead and do whatever you want. We won't listen." Ignoring the comment, Lee holds up the pendant in front of Nana and speaks into the speaker. "Will you stop disturbing us? Don't you understand the concept of privacy? We can have a private moment too." Nana, noticing the pendant, asks, "What is this pendant? What do you want me to do with it?" Lee responds, "Don't say anything. Let me whisper something in your ear. Don't react. Just listen. If you react, there might be a camera in this room and it could create a huge problem." Days later, we see that nearly 5 days have passed. Lee reflects on how his family and parents don't trust him. Everyone thinks he's lost his mind. The only person who believes in him is Nana. She trusts him and doesn't see him as crazy. Lee relies on Nana entirely, knowing she won't mock him like his family and doctors. To him, she is his last hope, the one person who understands him. At that moment, the microphone crackles again, and the nurse announces that his girlfriend has come to visit him. Lee, who had been anxiously waiting, feels overjoyed upon hearing this. A smile spreads across his face as he mutters, "I knew my friend would come. He'd never betray me. I trust him completely." As he eagerly heads out of his room, some hospital guards approach. Being in a mental hospital, guards are stationed to maintain order. When Lee notices them, he feels confused and decides to ask one of them what's happening. He asks, "What's going on? Is something wrong? Why are you all so prepared?" One of the guards quickly replies, "Close your door and don't come out, no matter what you hear or see." The guard's tone is urgent and almost fearful, leaving Lee puzzled. The guard explains that a dangerous patient has escaped. A true psychopath capable of anything, even murder. He warns Lee to stay alert and cautious. Before leaving, the guard instructs him to report immediately if he spots the escapee. Left alone, Lee processes what he's just heard. He thinks about how dangerous the situation must be for there to be such a commotion. Still, his friend is waiting for him and that's his priority. Despite the risk, he decides he has no choice but to step outside. He still needs to meet his friend, who must be waiting for him. Cautiously, he sneaks out to find his friend, making sure no one notices him, especially not the escaped psycho. If that lunatic spots him, it could spell big trouble since he is incredibly dangerous. Somehow, Lee manages to slip out of the hospital and meet his friend in a secluded spot. The two of them start talking privately. Nana tells him, "I sent off the gold and the pendant you gave me. The pendant was ancient and valuable, so it sold for a good price. But the gold was too light, so I didn't get much for it." Hearing this, Lee runs a hand through his hair in a stylish manner and exclaims, "I knew it. I knew it. I'm not crazy." He then bursts into laughter, a sound unsettling and eerie. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts and he begins experiencing hallucinations again. This time, however, he doesn't feel scared. He reasons that there must be a deeper meaning behind these events, or perhaps it's all real. This leads to a cascade of questions in his mind. What if it's not a hallucination? What if it's all truly happening? Could he really die there? And if he dies there, would he also die in the real world? Or perhaps, when he closes his eyes, he wakes up in another person's body, living in a different reality where everything is real and nothing is imagined. But all of this remains a mystery. Perhaps these answers lie ahead in the story. There's no need to worry, I'm not giving away any spoilers. In a burst of joy, Lee hugs his friend Nana tightly. But in the panel shown in the manhwa, it's revealed that Lee is actually hugging the white-haired girl from his hallucination. To Lee, she appears vividly real, though no one else can see her. Caught in his delusion, he hugs her tightly, shouting over and over, "I'm not crazy, Nana. I'm not crazy." Nana, feeling awkward, says softly, "Let me down. I might fall." Lee feels overjoyed, believing that everything from his strange reality is real, and that he may soon be able to leave the hospital. As they walk together, they continue talking. Lee confidently declares, "My ability is real." Lee discovers that he can bring anything from this other world into reality. Although he still believes that the world he visits is just a hallucination, he's convinced that his ability allows him to transfer items from there to the real world. He's certain that the world in his visions isn't real, but the objects he brings back definitely are. Excited, he shares his thoughts with Nana, asking, "Are you ready to become rich? We're going to be loaded with this ability, and our days of struggling will be over. But I have to be careful not to get caught while taking things unnoticed." In response, Nana punches him and snaps, "I don't care about being rich. Are you out of your mind? I only care about you. I want you to get better and be okay. That's all I want. I don't need a fortune. Promise me, Lee. Even though you have this ability, you'll still go to your checkups and take your medication on time. Follow everything the doctor tells you, no excuses, no shortcuts. Promise me you won't do anything reckless." Lee doesn't say anything but gazes at his friend with heartfelt admiration. In that moment, he realizes how much Nana truly cares for him. Money means nothing to her compared to his health and well-being. He softly promises her, "I'll continue my treatment. I'll take my medicines and follow the doctor's advice." Just as they are speaking, a terrifying man suddenly appears behind them. He grabs Nana and shoves her forcefully to the ground. It's the same dangerous patient the hospital guards have been searching for, a deranged psycho. Lee freezes for a moment before screaming, "He's my friend. Don't hurt him. Let him go." Panicking, Lee rushes forward, but the psycho grips Nana even tighter, causing her to cry out in pain. Her screams send a chill through the air. Just as Lee is about to intervene, the crazed man strikes him on the head with a rock. Blood begins to pour from the wound, and Lee collapses to the ground. In that critical moment, Lee recalls the medicine that the master had given him during his hallucinations. If the pendant in gold were real, then the medicine must also exist. And with it, the strength and long life promised by the master. Seeing his friend Nana in tears, overcome with pain, Lee feels his anger and emotions spiral out of control. Unable to hold back any longer, he grabs the pills. In the manhwa image, we see the determination reflected in Nana's eyes as Lee swallows the medicine. The moment he consumes it, the atmosphere around him shifts dramatically. A surge of immense power courses through his body. The aura radiating from him is so intense that Nana is left stunned, unable to say a word, and even the psycho freezes in terror. As the crazed man begins to turn his head, Lee reacts with lightning speed. He strikes the psycho hard in the face, sending him crashing to the ground. Lee presses the man's face beneath his hand with such force that the bones crack, and blood begins to flow. Fueled by rage, Lee tears the psycho's skin from his face and flings it aside, exposing raw flesh. The man screams in agony, the sound chilling and unbearable. At that moment, it becomes clear that Lee has lost control. His mind, clouded by fury and despair over what had happened to his friend, no longer functions rationally. He continues to beat the psycho mercilessly, his eyes glowing red with rage. "How dare you touch my friend?" Lee shouts. "Why did you hurt him?" Over and over, he strikes the man, his voice filled with a mix of pain and vengeance. "How dare you ignore me? I told you to stop, but you didn't listen." His relentless assault reveals a frightening transformation. Lee no longer seems human. He moves like a demon, devoid of empathy, his heart hardened with rage. By the time the hospital guards arrive, they are horrified by the scene. They struggle to restrain Lee as he continues his relentless attack. Even as the guards pile on, it takes all their strength to finally pull him away. Lee is chained down, his body radiating a terrifying power. The guards exchange wary glances, realizing this is no ordinary patient. The medicine had changed him. Though he wasn't a psycho before, the pills seemed to awaken something dark within him. Now restrained, it's clear that he can no longer be seen as normal. Lee lets out a piercing scream. I only did this to protect my friend. I didn't do anything wrong. Let me go. I was just trying to protect him. Didn't you all see how much pain that man caused him? The doctor, standing in front of him, crosses his arms and says firmly, This wasn't just a fight, Lee. No one fights like that. What you did was far beyond a simple fight. You didn't just defend yourself or your friend. You brutally attacked that psycho. You tore the skin off his face. Is this your idea of protection? What you did wasn't human. Only a psycho would act this way. And today it's clear, you're no different. In fact, you're worse. You're a demon in disguise. The doctor's voice grows colder as he steps closer. Now tell me the truth. How did you beat that man so viciously? Where did this power come from? You've been here for weeks. I've seen you struggling to eat. You were weak, barely able to move some days. So how all of a sudden do you have this kind of strength? What changed? What are you hiding? Lee remains silent, avoiding the doctor's piercing gaze. His thoughts race. If I tell him, he'll think I'm even crazier. He'll punish me even more. The doctor, noticing Lee's silence, narrows his eyes and says, Answer me, Lee, properly. If you lie or refuse to speak, the consequences will be severe. You haven't seen my true nature yet. When my patients lie to me, I make sure they regret it deeply. I've been patient with you so far, but don't test me. If you don't speak up, I'll make your life here a living hell. Something you'll never forget. Even with the doctor's threats hanging in the air, Lee says nothing. He keeps his thoughts to himself. Why should I tell him? He'll just think I'm crazy. And if I tell him the truth, they'll start running tests on me again. They'll take everything I bring into this world, and I'll never have the chance to sell it. Lee stays silent, staring at the floor, his fists clenched. The doctor leaned closer, his voice sharp and commanding. Are you listening to me? Close your eyes, he said firmly. Lee hesitated, unsure of what the doctor intended. Refusing to comply, he stared back in defiance. The doctor's irritation flared. I told you to close your eyes, he barked. Reluctantly, Lee finally began to close his eyes. As his eyelids shut, the world around him blurred and dissolved. And when he opened them again, he found himself in the hallucination world. A sense of relief washed over him, and he thought, maybe this is how it's meant to be. In the hospital, they're always talking to me, questioning me, doubting me. But here I'm free. Here no one can ask me questions. This is my escape. In this world, he saw a massive statue of an old man sitting in a meditative pose. Nearby stood his master, the one who always seemed to guide him in this strange place. His master spoke with authority, addressing a group gathered around him. Today we have a newcomer joining us, the master announced. Wanyang, you'll be working with us from now on. If he makes any mistakes, forgive him. He's new here and doesn't yet understand this place or its work. But I trust that he will learn everything gradually. Beside Wanyang stood another man, older and more experienced. The master continued, you'll be his senior. It's your responsibility to guide him, teach him about this place, and show him how things are done. Now, the master said with finality, it's time to rest. It's 9 o'clock. Let's have dinner and then call it a day. As the group began to disperse, Lee noticed something odd. One of the men, standing next to the master, was staring at him with an intense, almost unnerving gaze. The man's piercing eyes seemed to hold some kind of knowledge about him. Lee couldn't shake the feeling and thought to himself, why is this guy looking at me like that? Am I a girl or something? Is there something on my face? What's his deal? It was the first time Lee had seen this man in the hallucination world, and they had no connection. So why the intense stare? Later, as Lee and his assigned senior walked up a flight of stairs, Lee broke the silence and asked, who was that guy staring at me back there? And why was he looking at me like that? The senior glanced at Lee and answered, his name is Senior Brother Jin Khan. He's unique. You'll get used to him. Lee learned from his senior that the man's name was Jin Khan. The senior continued, ever since Jin betrayed the master, there's only been one inner disciple, Brother Jin Khan. He's the master's most trusted confidant and handles all the important tasks. The master relies on him completely. Whoever you meet here, show them respect. Speak politely to everyone and don't act rudely. If you do, the master won't take it lightly. He's very strict when it comes to respect, so be mindful of that. As someone new to this world, Lee appreciated the advice. He nodded and said, thanks for explaining everything. I'm new here and don't know much yet. Eager to contribute, Lee asked, now that I'm the master's official disciple, what's my first task? What should I do next? His senior replied, For now, your main responsibility is to handle supply tasks around this place. Even though you're officially a disciple, you're not close to the master yet. If you want to earn his trust, you'll have to work hard and remain loyal to him. Always show respect. If you do well, the master might one day teach you the ultimate secret. Immortality? Lee's eyes widened with excitement at the mention of immortality. Immortality? He exclaimed. Can the master really teach me? When will he teach me? Tell me, please. His senior chuckled at Lee's enthusiasm and said, Calm down. Right now, the master isn't going to teach you. He doesn't trust anyone easily. The only person he trusts is Jin Khan. If you want to learn about immortality, you'll first need to win the master's heart. That means working hard, proving your loyalty, and becoming an inner disciple. Even then, it's not guaranteed. Many people have tried and failed to earn his trust, and it often takes years. For now, forget about immortality. Focus on your current tasks. Maybe in 1 or 2 years, if you're persistent and loyal, the master will see your worth and begin teaching you. Lee's amazement grew as he processed this information. He thought to himself, this place is truly incredible. So many hidden secrets lie here. If I could learn about immortality, it would change everything. After learning about the hidden wonders of the place, Lee's curiosity grew insatiable. He wanted to uncover all the mysteries it held. However, his immediate focus remained clear. To bring something valuable from this world back to the real one. Not just to escape poverty for himself but to help his friends too. That thought consumed him. Then, his perspective shifted when he stumbled upon a place where medicines were made. He watched in horror as people were killed, their essence fueling the creation of magical substances. A large cauldron bubbled violently, and strange, shimmering ingredients were added to it. The master stood before the cauldron, opening it with a commanding gesture. Inside, the contents glowed as 2 magical medicines formed, one green and one red. Lee was stunned. How foolish have I been? He thought. I was only thinking of taking money from this world, but these medicines hold unimaginable power. If I could take them to the real world, I could become invincible, maybe even immortal. The desire to take the medicines burned within him. He imagined harnessing their power to reshape his life, to protect his friends, and to achieve anything he desired. But then a troubling thought crossed his mind. What if I take the medicine without knowing its effects? What if it's too much for my body to handle? I could overdose and lose control, or worse, die. He realized he needed to tread carefully. First, he had to learn everything about the medicines and their powers. Determined, he resolved to focus on his current task, earning the master's trust. If he could do that, perhaps the master would teach him the secrets of immortality. As Lee watched, the master transferred the magical medicines into bottles with a flick of his hand. His movements precise and almost hypnotic. Then the master turned to Lee and said, If you're here for the supplies, go and bring them. The girl with the white hair. Lee froze. His blood ran cold. The girl with the white hair? His master intended to use her, his friend, the one who called him brother, as a component in the cauldron. Lee's mind raced. How could I do this? How could I betray her and bring her to die? He couldn't bring himself to even consider such a thing. But before he could respond, the master stepped closer, his tone growing sharp. Didn't you hear me? I said bring the supplies. Feeling trapped, Lee closed his eyes tightly, unable to face the situation. He willed himself to return to his real world, desperate to escape the impossible choice. When he opened his eyes, he found himself back in the hospital. Standing before him were the doctor and his mother, their faces filled with concern. Mom? Lee asked, surprised. What are you doing here? His mother rarely visited him, and her presence made him uneasy. His mother's eyes were filled with worry as she said, The doctor called me. He told me about what happened to you. That you were attacked, hurt badly on your head. She stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. Are you okay, my son? Do you have a headache? Lee forced a smile, trying to reassure her. I'm fine, Mom. I don't feel any pain. But deep down, his mind was far from fine. The guilt of leaving the white-haired girl behind and the dread of what might happen to her gnawed at him. Yet, he couldn't bring himself to explain anything to his mother. You don't need to worry, Mom. Everything's okay. His mom looks at him and says, You have become so thin. Don't you eat in the hospital? Don't you like the food here? Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror? You have become so thin. His mom took out the grape from the bag and said, This is your favorite, right? I know it. Come on, open your mouth. It's very sweet. You'll like it a lot. While eating, he says, Mom, don't worry so much about me and don't trouble yourself so much. "Are you really here just to spend time with me?" Because he asks, his mom comes here very rarely. And it might be very few times that his mom doesn't get time to come here. Maybe that's why he is asking if you are here to spend time with me. His mom then feeds him all the grapes and talks to him for a while. His mom says, "If you don't get up, the doctor will take me to the crazy man's parents. And I will scold them a lot." His parents are waiting downstairs, so the doctor tells his mom that the crazy old man's family is waiting downstairs. So hurry up or they will leave. His mom says, "Let me talk to my son for a little while longer. There is still something important I want to tell him." Because of this, it's clear that his mom loves Lee so much. And she is very strict with their parents for throwing stones at her son's head. Lee says that he didn't do anything. He just fought with the old man to save his friend. His mom tells him not to worry, that she always trusts him and will handle everything. So he doesn't need to be concerned. Lee looks at his mom with tear-filled eyes. And as she leaves, she tells him to always listen to the doctor and take his medicine on time, assuring him that he will get better soon, and that he doesn't need to be scared because his mom will always be with him. When his mom was about to leave the room, she pretended to be happy, but in reality, she was even more worried because his health was not improving. However, she didn't show her concern or sadness in front of him. Her eyes were filled with anger as she thought about the madman's parents, who had harmed her son and put him in this condition. But the way Lee had fought the madman, perhaps in his case the injury on his head was nothing. The madman had attacked his friend first, so it was his fault. In anger, she leaves to meet the madman's parents. As Lee looks at his mom, his vision starts to blur. The doctor asks him to close his eyes, saying they will talk later. When Lee opens his eyes again, he finds his master standing right in front of him. The master speaks, but Lee is too troubled to pay attention. His thoughts are consumed with the white-haired girl. He wants to check on her to make sure she's all right. As he considers returning to find her, his master suddenly grabs his face with a tight grip. Startled and confused, Lee struggles to understand why his master is holding him like that. Before he can ask, the master pulls something from his hand and says, "If you're awake now, eat this, my servant." Laughing, the master shoves the object into Lee's mouth. Lee is horrified as he feels tiny tentacles, like those of an octopus, wriggling inside his mouth. The tentacles are alive, moving, and Lee can't make sense of what he's being forced to eat. The master had shoved it in so suddenly that Lee hadn't even seen what it was before it was in his mouth. The master explains that this will prevent Lee from panicking or being scared, perhaps thinking Lee had fainted in fear when he was asked to bring the white-haired girl to this place. Lee refuses, insisting, "I'm not sick and there's no need for this." He pulls the black tentacles from his mouth, and as he looks at them, he realizes his tongue has turned black. The master, unbothered, orders his guards to force-feed Lee. Two guards approach with firm grips, holding Lee's head and knives, ready to force the substance into his mouth. The master coldly commands, "You must eat this or they'll make you eat it." As the guards prepare to hold him down, Lee suddenly feels bubbles rising around him, and his face slowly starts to sink into water. The moment his face touches the water, Lee wakes up in his real world, where his friend Nana is looking at him, calling his name in concern. Nana, worried, asks if something is wrong or if Lee had seen something frightening in his hallucination. Lee doesn't respond, choosing to stay silent as he looks at his friend, grateful for her presence. Just then, Lee notices the doctor standing nearby. As soon as their eyes meet, the hallucination begins again. The doctor asks, "What did you see this time?" He notes Lee's panicked reaction, his heart racing, and continues to probe, "You're so panicked and screaming while in the hallucination." Lee, still shaken, decides not to tell the doctor about everything he had experienced. He doesn't want to alarm Nana, who is still standing close by. If she heard, she would surely be scared and worry about him even more. So Lee simply says to the doctor, "I didn't fully see everything yet. It wasn't complete." Lee then asked the doctor for medicine, telling him he needed a break from the hallucination-filled world. The medicine could stop the hallucinations for a brief time, and the doctor, surprised by the request, realized it was the first time Lee had asked for it. As the doctor began to leave the room, he informed Lee that the medicine had already been placed on the table. The doctor explained that the medicine only worked temporarily, and if Lee truly wanted to escape his situation, he would need to apply everything he had been taught. He added that Lee should let things unfold naturally, without interfering with anything. The doctor didn't explain why he said this, but it seemed like he had a reason. Nana, Lee's friend, handed him the medicine along with a glass of water. Nana was holding 4 or 5 pills in his hand, but Lee, panicking, quickly said he didn't need water to take the medicine. He insisted, just give me the medicine. As Li took the pills, he started hallucinating again, and saliva began to drip from his mouth. When Li swallowed the medicine, a black liquid began leaking from his mouth, something he could only see in his hallucination. After taking the medicine, Li confidently said, "Now I'm saved. After this, I won't have any more hallucinations." Upon hearing this, his friend became very anxious and asked what he meant by that. He asked if something terrible had happened to Li during the hallucination. His friend was deeply concerned, wondering if the hallucination had caused something horrible to happen to Li. Li didn't want to reveal the truth, but trying to calm his friend, he laughed and said, "It was just some crazy guy trying to feed me something disgusting and talking nonsense." He laughed it off, pretending everything was fine. However, as we focused on Li's face, we noticed that his mouth had turned black, something he was completely unaware of. Trying to maintain his composure, Li then said confidently, "I'm a modern young guy. These hallucinations don't scare me. I know it's all nonsense and none of this could ever happen in reality. So there's nothing to be afraid of." His friend seemed slightly reassured, but just then tentacles began to emerge from Li's mouth. Suddenly, Li found himself back in that strange world without closing his eyes or even falling asleep. The black tentacle they had forced him to eat caused him immense pain. His eyes widened in shock as he struggled to breathe, tears streaming down his face. He couldn't understand how this was happening. "I already took the medicine," he thought. Despite the medicine, he had somehow ended up back in that world. The strangest part was that Li hadn't even closed his eyes, and the medicine was supposed to prevent these hallucinations. He started talking to himself, saying, "If I just close my eyes and open them again, I'll return to my real world. Nothing will happen. There's nothing to be afraid of." He kept reassuring himself as he tightly shut his eyes. But when he opened them again, he was still in the same place with his master and the two guards standing before him. This time he couldn't escape. His master spoke, saying, "Li, you have hysteria. That's why we gave you this substance. It will cure your hysteria. Now you can do your job properly." Then his master and the guards left, laughing, leaving Li behind, sitting in unbearable pain, tears streaming down his face. Black tentacles began to emerge from his mouth, but Li wasn't focused on the pain. Instead, one question consumed his mind: is this world truly real? And the world he had been returning to with all those people, was that fake? Li's heart shattered. Everything he had dreamed of, especially his moments with his friend Nana, suddenly felt like lies. Could it all have been false? He began to believe that this world might be the real one. After all, even though he had taken the medicine and hadn't closed his eyes, he still ended up here. And now, even closing his eyes couldn't bring him back to what he thought was his real world. Impossible. Nana is not an illusion. After finally swallowing the medicine, Huowang, crying, believes she hasn't left him. But Nana vanishes with the wind into the air. Huowang begins to scream desperately, "Why am I in this cursed place? Why won't this illness let me leave?" The next day, as the members cultivate, Bai Lingyao slowly approaches with 3 steamed buns. "Senior brother Li hasn't eaten all day," she says. Then he asks, "How did you get this pendant?" Lingyao replies that she received it as a gift from him. She explained that she didn't want it, but he insisted, pushing it into her hands. "After forcing me to accept it, you laughed and hugged me, saying you weren't sick." The protagonist questions, "And then?" Lingyao continues, "Senior brother Wang took the chance to strike your head with a rock. He thought you were dead and then tried to abuse me." Huowang, curious, asks, "That chubby guy with the cleft lip? What happened to him? Wang, was it?" The girl explains, "He was killed by senior brother Li, don't you remember?" Huowang then recalls that, in the other world, he indeed killed the madman from the asylum. He thinks to himself, so it wasn't the old Lu. There is no old Lu after all. I'm just completely insane. In the next scene, a cauldron is shown being cleaned. If this place is truly reality, he ponders, then the former sister and the cultivation group, not just them but everyone here, will die. And the one responsible for all this is that mangy-headed bastard. Xianyang, it seems you have something to tell me. When did that mangy-headed one appear? Master, Xianyang responds, answer my question. What are you thinking right now? This disciple, who admires the master's cultivation art with love, was merely pondering when I might reach such a level of cultivation. Another disciple, envious, remarks, what a pathetic excuse. However, the master smiles. Ambition is good. It's not bad at all. The disciple is surprised, realizing the master fell for the ploy. The master explains, it's not that I don't want to teach you, but the path of external cultivation isn't simple. Ordinary pills and alchemy are one thing, But if you wish to master both internal and external cultivation to achieve immortality, Master, are you close to achieving immortality? Fortunately, I've surpassed certain hurdles. But immortality isn't simple. However, this master can surely achieve it. Do you know why? This disciple doesn't know the reason. Another disciple interrupts, Master, it's almost midnight. If we don't begin refining the pills soon, we might waste precious time. Very well, let's prepare the ritual. Yes, Master. Xin Yang, go to the materials room and fetch the medicinal herbs requested yesterday. What medicinal guide? The white medicinal guide you were supposed to bring 2 days ago when you had your hysteria, but didn't. As a result, the master lost precious pill refining time. Did you forget? The properties of the medicinal guide and the timing of refinement affect the quality of the pills. No detail can be overlooked. But never mind, it's useless to explain this to you. Get up and go work. Later, Bai Lingmiao is taken by Senior Brother Li. If you manage to leave here alive, she pleads, could you deliver a message to my family? My parents live at the foot of Niuxing Mountain in Liang Country. Just tell them their daughter is useless and couldn't care for them in their old age or until their deaths. I can't help with that. Your time is running out. Come with me now, he replies. They arrive at the site where the master is preparing the refinement. Master, I brought the medicinal guide, says Xin Yang. Perfect. My dear disciple, come here now. Bai Lingmiao is pulled by an invisible force. As the master grabs her neck, he notices something odd. What bad luck. Why did you fail at this moment? The properties of the medicinal guide have been completely altered. Xin Yang, take this girl back. Yes, master. It's done. Next, I just need to get Bai Lingmiao out of here. Wait, Xin Yang. Since this guide won't work, fetch another for me. I recall there's another white medicinal guide. Go quickly and return fast. Don't delay the alchemy. In the supply room, Xin Yang realizes the grim fate. As I understood my mistake, I couldn't save Bai Lingmiao. That wretched man kept creating elixirs and I couldn't save anyone. Tomorrow and the days after would always demand more sacrificial guides. As the cauldron opens, a demonic face emerges. I can't be his assistant, Yang declares. The master hands him a pill. Here's a gift. The other disciples aren't as studious as you. This pill is for you. Thank you, master. Thank you for this pill. I can save everyone. I can save myself, Yang thinks. Good disciple, eat it while it's hot. I have to kill him. The protagonist decides to swallow the pill, but it feels wrong. It's too hot. My body is burning. Xin Yang, return and rest. This pill is powerful. It will take time for your body to fully absorb it. Yes, master. Later, back in the supply room, Yang notices his newfound strength. I can crush rocks with effort. But remembering the other victim begging not to die and knowing these pills were made from humans, I've only received one pill. That wretch took several. How could I kill him? Yang coughs blood. Suddenly, the young girl appears and asks, are you okay? Senior Brother Li was told, you don't need to curse yourself. You're strong too. The nervous young woman, clutching her thigh, asked, Senior Brother Li, are you planning to go against the master again? Should keep your voice down. Are you saying you came here just for me? He might see what's happening here, Li replied. It's fine, Senior Brother, she assured him. Today is the day Master Yu goes to the market. The master can't hear us now. Meanwhile, the other workers thought the protagonist was retrieving more medicinal guides. We're doomed, they murmured. As Li suspected, everyone now saw Yang as an accomplice of the bald bastard. This place isn't safe. Let's move to another location, he said, pulling the girl by the hand. A young boy observed them silently from a distance. Now you can continue. What were you saying earlier about the old Master Yu? Li asked. The old Master Yu? It's something you can't see or feel. My grandfather once told me that only high-level practitioners can summon it. Anyway, the old Master Yu goes to the market on the 1st and 15th days of every month, she explained. So the old master goes to the market on those 2 days? In other words, during those days, the bald bastard can't monitor our lives in the temple. That's valuable information, Li remarked. The girl pressed, anyway, Senior Brother Li, let's get back to business. Do you really want to go against the master again? Of course I do. If I could, I'd eat his flesh and drink his blood, he replied with venom. Then count me in on this mission. I want to help too, the young woman said determinedly. Suddenly, a boy holding a piece of bread said, count me in as well. Senior Brother Li, you might not remember me. I'm just a nameless child born and raised here. You can call me Gua. Here, Senior Brother and Senior Sister, take this bread, he offered. Were you eavesdropping on us? The girl demanded. No, I wouldn't dare. I only came looking for Senior Brother Lee for protection and happened to overhear the last words Senior Sister said. He stammered. You don't know anything about this. How can we trust you if you want to join us? I admire Senior Brother Lee, isn't that reason enough to join? Gua asked earnestly. Xianyang, wasn't your group formed in the same way at the beginning? Lee asked. Gua, aren't you afraid of me? How could I be afraid? Senior Brother Lee's actions were inevitable too, Gua replied. Fine, you can join us. We're counting on you, Gua. Don't regret it, Lee said. The protagonist reflected. I hope he doesn't meet the same fate as Xianyang's. In the days that followed, the group continued seeking ways to kill Dan Yangzi, but with just Lee and the two others, it was almost impossible to deal with the master. During that time, they moved the medicinal guides from the storage room to the alchemy room one by one. The protagonist couldn't forget their final words, echoing in his head until the 8th medicinal guide. Master, the medicinal guide is ready, Xianyang announced. Well done, Xianyang. You've been performing admirably lately. As I said, our Shishan Donghua sect rewards merit and punishes mistakes, the master replied. Since you want to learn alchemy, I'll start teaching you today the formula for creating the nutritive pills. Don't underestimate the formula. Though it's simple, it remains a heavenly method recorded in celestial scriptures. The master explained, remember this, 20 taels of human elixir, half a caddy of balsam seeds, 24 sunrise stones. The fire must be lit at 3 a.m., the bathing hour. Use your eyes to illuminate it silently, your breath to boast it, and your spirit to fumigate it. Gradually raise the fire with a gentle flame and relight it at 4 a.m. Then exhale. While listening, Xianyang secretly wrote the formula on his clothing. Master, I'll write the formula on my robe, he said. But the master scowled. Master, please review what I wrote and see if anything is missing, Xianyang insisted. Suddenly the master kicked him hard in the face. Why the hell did that maniac do that? Why did he suddenly kick me? Xianyang thought. Although his handwriting wasn't great, it was legible. The master hadn't even looked at it. He seemed more concerned about the act of writing the recipe. Wait, Xianyang realized. Back when we were in class, we never had scriptures or any written records from this temple. Everything taught so far was passed down orally. Could this cursed maniac be illiterate? If he can't read, then who read the celestial book he claims to follow? Another disciple approached. I didn't expect this, Xianyang. The master is willing to share the celestial book's formula with you. He must truly value you. Senior Brother Zhenkuan, this is the master's way of showing his favor, Xianyang said carefully. But Zhenkuan, angered, punched Xianyang in the ribs. Who do you think you are? He growled. Bruised but undeterred, Xianyang smirked. The master recognizes my efforts and cultivation. Perhaps you're just not good enough, Senior Brother Zhenkuan. Infuriated, Zhenkuan channeled magic into his hand and struck Xianyang with such force that the impact echoed throughout the temple. Time passed. Zhenkuan sneered, Junior Brother Xianyang, why are you so disobedient? If it weren't for the master's pills, you'd be dead by now. Didn't I tell you not to provoke Zhenkuan? Why do you keep doing it? As the days continued, Xianyang's suspicions about the master and his twisted methods deepened. With each attempt to escape or resist, the group faced increasing peril. The temple's secrets remained shrouded in fear, manipulation, and bloodshed. The protagonist began to laugh maniacally. Didn't the master already give Junior Brother Xianyang the medicine? Why is he acting crazy again? Someone questioned. A breaking point has been found, the protagonist declared, laughing like a madman. After the chaos, the protagonist deliberately created further conflicts with Zhenkuan to provoke him into revealing news about his master. Judging by Zhenkuan's expression, it seemed something significant was about to happen. The protagonist secretly observed Zhenkuan, but Zhenkuan continued his training step by step as usual. Just when the protagonist thought he might have been mistaken and that Zhenkuan wasn't as greedy as he seemed, February 15th arrived. On that day when Lizi 2 began refining pills, Zhenkuan deviated from his usual practice. The door to Lizi 2's residence was left open, signaling that Zhenkuan had someone inside to investigate. Suspiciously, Zhenkuan chose to stand guard outside at such a critical moment. Was it really him? Disciple Yuan? The two disciples conversed, and after a moment, they used a talisman and disappeared. They finally left, the protagonist thought. The restriction on the room must have been lifted by Zhenkuan and his group. Now is my chance to enter. Inside, the protagonist grimaced. Tish, this place reeks like the stench of rotting rats. Suddenly he noticed a stone tablet. This stone, it must be the celestial script Lizy 2 mentioned. The writing is hard to read. This celestial scripture is clearly a sutra. There's no alchemical method written here. How could he refine pills using this rock? Unless... A mysterious voice interrupted, asking the protagonist, "Are you colluding with that person from earlier? Don't move. All it takes is ringing these bells, and her father will return immediately." "Ah, I see. Fine, go ahead and ring the bells. I'll just wait for the master to arrive and discover you can't understand the celestial scriptures." "You've been lying to him this entire time," the protagonist retorted. "How did you figure that out?" asked the frightened girl. "So my suspicions were correct," the protagonist mused. "She's the one interpreting the celestial scriptures for Lizy 2. The girl stammered, But it's not my fault. I can't understand those damned celestial scriptures, but he forced me to keep reading them to him." "Are you not afraid he'll find out?" the protagonist questioned. "He's illiterate. He'll always believe whatever I tell him," the girl admitted. "So, the alchemical formula using humans to refine pills? Was that something you made up and fed to him as well?" "Yes," she confessed, nodding. "I just remembered bits and pieces and told him that's what the scriptures said. Don't worry, it won't kill anyone. I don't want him to get hurt. I just don't want him to think I'm useless, that he'll discard me. I have no hands or feet." Suddenly, the protagonist grabbed a vase and smashed it to the ground. The girl cried out in pain. "It hurts. It hurts," she wailed. "The alchemical formula might not kill people, but because of your formula, Lizy 2 is eating humans," the protagonist said coldly, glaring at her as she writhed on the ground, screaming for help. Moments later, all the sect members were gathered in the main hall. The master arrived with a grim demeanor. Who secretly entered the master's house while he was refining elixirs?" he demanded. The room was silent. Realizing no one would speak, the master decided to interrogate each member individually. "Changming and Changren, what were you doing while the master was refining elixirs?" "Master, we were guarding the gate of Qingfeng Temple as per your instructions." Changming and Changren dared not be careless, they replied nervously. The master emitted a murderous aura as he stared down one of the guards. "And Shen Yuan?" he asked. Shen Yuan began to explain himself, but the protagonist knew his turn was coming next. "Shen Yang," the master called, placing a heavy hand on the protagonist's shoulder. "After distributing the medicine today, where were you for the rest of the day?" The protagonist responded, "Disciple returned to the hall to prepare the elixir materials you will need for the next refinement." The oppressive atmosphere hung thick in the air. The master asked again, "Did any of the disciples see Shen Yang in the house?" No one answered. "Think carefully before you speak," the master warned. "If anyone helps uncover who invaded the master's house, not only will they be spared, but they will also be rewarded handsomely." Suddenly, the white-robed girl spoke up. "Brotherly was with us at that time. I can vouch for him." "You can guarantee that?" the master questioned. "Yes, I can," she replied. "And the rest of you? Does anyone else have anything to say?" Out of the blue, someone interrupted. "Immortal Father, may I speak?" Everyone turned in surprise, including the protagonist, the girl, the disciples, and the master. "That Shen Yang? He didn't come to the warehouse even once today," the figure revealed, casting suspicion on the protagonist. "So, Immortal Grandfather, I helped find the person. Can I go home now?" The master, radiating a devastating aura, shouted, "This morning, the medicinal manual was personally delivered by Shen Yang. If he never went to the supply room today, then how the hell did he get the medicine? Are you trying to die, boy? Are you seeking death?" "Immortal Grandfather, I was wrong. I was blinded by ambition, and that's why I lied to you." The boy fell to his knees, his forehead slamming against the ground as he begged for forgiveness. The master ignored him at first, but when he noticed one of the disciples with a faint smile on his face, he moved in a blur, tearing off a portion of the disciple's face. When Shen Yang was being falsely accused by that brat, the master's voice was chilling as blood dripped from his fingertips. "Tell me why. Why were you the only one happy while Shen Yang was being falsely accused of committing a crime? Answer me, Shen Yin." "A master, no. Please, it wasn't me." Shen Yin screamed in terror, blood pouring from his torn face. "It was Zhengkuan. Senior brother Zhengkuan forced me to do it." Zhengkuan, realizing he had been betrayed and now faced the master's deadly gaze, bolted like a cheetah. "So, it was you all along," the master muttered coldly. "I should have realized sooner. Only Zhengkuan could have undone the restrictions on my chamber." As he spoke, his hand reached into his pocket. Does he truly think he can escape? That I would let him come and go as he pleases? The master's fingers closed around something, a coin. With a flick of his wrist, he tossed it into the air, then stomped down with immense force. The moment the coin shattered into 4 pieces, a ghostly image of it appeared inside Jinkuan's skull. And just like the coin, he too was split, his body torn into 5 parts, losing both arms and legs instantly. The remaining disciples stood frozen in fear, unable to process what they had just witnessed. Even Xian Yang and the white-haired girl were horrified beyond words. Master, I was wrong. When the gate veteran Jingda was hunting us down, it was my 2 younger brothers who sacrificed their lives so we could escape. Silence. The master's voice was cold, his gaze piercing. I know exactly what you're thinking right now. Master, I have already become useless. Please spare me this time. But the master slowly placed his foot atop Jinkuan's head. You are just like your 2 younger brothers. All of you, mere wolves that can be raised. With that, he stomped down violently, crushing Jinkuan's skull, sending blood splattering in all directions. You, the master pointed at someone. Come and pay your respects to the 3 deities. The protagonist stood there, momentarily dazed. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, he slowly kneeled before the 3 deities and bowed. 7, 8, 9 kowtows. When it was done, he knew what would come next, for he was still holding the incense sticks. Having paid his respects to the ancestral master, he heard the declaration that would change everything. From this day forth, you shall be this Taoist master's most favored disciple. Congratulations, senior brother. Congratulations. One by one, all the disciples stepped forward to salute their newly appointed senior. All right, Shenyang, come with me now. The rest of you are dismissed. The moment had finally arrived. Don't worry, you damned bald-headed fool. I will help you achieve your goal of immortality. The scene shifted. They were once again heading toward the sacred scriptures. I recall that you can read, can you not, Shenyang? Yes, master. Good. It is good that you can read. The master then began to weave his magic. The sound of cords slicing through the air echoed in Dan Yangzi's chamber as black threads that had once bound the stone tablet unraveled, slithering into his sleeve like writhing black serpents. At that moment, the sacred text was fully revealed before the protagonist. Come here. Take a look at the sacred scriptures. Can you read what is written here? Yes, master. That airhead completely made up all those previous cultivation methods to achieve immortality. If the protagonist couldn't keep up, he feared his secret would be exposed. So instead, he would rather tear everything down himself. The disciple seems to understand, the master mused while analyzing the stone tablet. Stop whining and tell me everything you see. Master, in these scriptures, why isn't the recipe for the blood-nourishing elixir here? The one you taught me last time? The protagonist continued, Master, you said that to become an immortal, one must refine both internal and external pills. But the method for refining internal pills, it's not here. What? The master's eyes widened. I'm telling the truth, the protagonist declared with conviction. He had no idea what kind of lies the girl in the vase had told Dan Yangzi. If he followed the original script, there was a chance he would fail. So, he decided it would be easier to be honest and figure something else out later. Besides, it wasn't even a lie. It was the truth. The entire method to become an immortal was nothing more than a fabricated story the girl in the vase had invented. Naturally, he would create his own fabricated story and method as well. This stone tablet records a technique for cultivating internal strength. It says here that on the eve of the new year, one can use various external pills alongside this technique to capture a portion of the spiritual energy that the heavens release into the mortal realm. We can then absorb it and use it to ascend to immortality. Li Huowang stared at the stone tablet, his voice unwavering, speaking each word with such confidence that it sounded like absolute truth. A cultivation technique? It also requires external elixirs, the master asked. There seem to be multiple types of pills, the protagonist responded. This one requires 120 grams of cinnabar, 5 grams of white strychnine, 60 grams of acidin, and a wandering god? Master, what kind of ingredient is a wandering god? No wonder. No wonder the girl in the vase had said that this celestial scripture was always changing, making it impossible to memorize. No wonder he hadn't become an immortal after all this time. She had been deceiving this Taoist all along. Dan Yangzi didn't respond immediately. Instead, he observed for a while before speaking. Child. Even that girl managed to deceive me. Are you trying to do the same? The protagonist answered immediately. Master, This is the method to become an immortal. How could I possibly deceive you? After all, I also want to achieve immortality." The master stared at him, almost as if amused, trying to see if he could uncover any lies. "Good." Dan Yongzi clapped his hands and laughed joyfully. "First, explain this cultivation technique to me. Let's wait until I, your master, fully master it before refining any other pills. Then we shall ascend to immortality together, master and disciple." "Yes, master." Finally, after a long day, the protagonist returned home. Fortunately, he had read countless novels, magazines, and manga. Otherwise, the techniques he created today would have been instantly exposed as nonsense by the leper. Suddenly, he heard a voice shout, "Senior Brother Lee. Rest assured, now that I have returned safely, the promise I made to you, to escape, will naturally be fulfilled. Soon, you will all be able to go home. Senior Brother Lee, from now on, you are my father," the boy said. "What are you all doing? If not for everyone's help at Jingyi Hall today, I would already be dead. Who would have thought that in this strange world, he would actually become companions with these odd-looking people? Everyone, I have something to ask of you. This concerns whether or not we can successfully escape from this Qingfeng temple." "What is it, Senior Brother Lee? Do any of you know any other stories? Any rumors? A legend like the one my grandfather once told me? Other than mastering you, I once heard my grandfather mention something evil. Something called grandmother. This grandmother doesn't sound like anything special." "Shh. Brother Lee, keep your voice down or grandmother will hear you. She is truly an evil thing. First of all, her appearance is different depending on who sees her. Some say she looks like a long-eared monster. Others say she resembles a deceased elder. And, if we say grandmother too often, do you know what happens? Grandmother will ride on your back, and on mine. If she finds us, we will become a great-grandmother together. What do you think, Senior Brother Lee? Does this information about the great-grandmother seem correct?" The protagonist looked unsettled by the story. "You turn into a great-grandmother just by staying near her too long?" This world was so strange, filled with inexplicable things. "No problem. This information about grandmother was definitely useful. Does anyone else have anything to share?" Immediately hands shot up. "I have a story." A young boy began to speak. "Senior brother, I heard that some people skin children and wrap their bodies in dog hides, training them to act like dogs. Then they use these children, who understand human speech, to perform tricks on the streets. I don't want to hear these kinds of horror stories." The protagonist cut him off. He wanted information about the master, not disturbing tales. "Brother, I know something about the fish-in-law. This man is Zhao Wu, the medicinal catalyst of Qingfeng Temple. I heard the elders at home talk about him. The fish-in-law not only looks strange, but it also only appears during floods. That really does sound strange. Alright, tell me about the fish-in-law." "Senior, I also have a story. The medicinal catalyst of Qingfeng Temple, Shazi. I know Dao Dao. Alright, that's enough for today. I'll be back soon. You all just wait patiently for my news." News? The next day arrived. Early in the morning, Li Huowang was summoned to Dan Yongzi's room. "I've more or less mastered the internal and external heavenly circulation technique. Now, tell me the ingredients used to refine the pills." "Yes, master." Li Huowang approached the stone tablet and once again began to inspect it, trying to make his words sound as convincing as possible. "Take 2 hearts of the mountain grandma and extract their essence." "Master, what is this?" Meanwhile, Dan Yongzi paced back and forth in his room, his face full of uncertainty. "Is that so? Do I really need something this vile to become an immortal?" "Master, what is a mountain grandma?" "Ignore it. Keep reading. 1 companion fish. Take its gills and soak them in 100 grams of A-stin." Li Huowang combined his own knowledge with Xiaowu's, carefully crafting an incredibly believable pill recipe. It had taken him the entire night to consolidate all the information. After he finished reading the fake pill's ingredients aloud, Dan Yongzi unexpectedly grew excited, muttering to himself. Once he compiled and analyzed the ingredients in his mind, he was stunned. "Yes, that's right. A-stin is naturally cold, so it must be balanced with something of a hot property like a companion fish. This is incredible. And to think we would need the hearts of mountain grandmas to refine a pill. Why did I never think of this before? Since humans can be refined into pills, then it stands to reason that evil beings like these could also be used for the same purpose." Dan Yongzi reasoned with himself, trying to justify the ingredients. Li Huowang realized that Dan Yongzi could be extremely intelligent at times, yet utterly foolish at others. He never trusted anyone but himself. Ultimately, everything came down to superstition. In a world without gods or demons, being superstitious would be considered foolish. But even in a world full of supernatural beings, being overly superstitious was still foolish. Just then, Dan Yongzi reached into his sleeve and pulled out a bronze handbell with a noticeable dent. Li Huowang immediately recognized its resemblance to the bells used to control zombies in movies he had seen before. Dan Yongzi shook the bell violently, and a piercing sound rang out. It was so loud that Li Huowang felt as if his head would split apart from the pain. He barely had the strength to close his ears and grit his teeth. At the same time, he realized that the bell affected not just his hearing, but also his vision. Everything around him twisted and distorted, as though the entire world were being shaken. What is this? What is Dan Yongzi doing? Did I make a mistake? Have I been found out? Just as Li Huowang feared he had failed, he noticed the edges of everything around him. The corners of the table, the hems of Dan Yongzi's sleeves, even the borders of the sacred text, starting to gather in front of Dan Yongzi. He couldn't clearly see what was forming, but he knew one thing for certain. It was made from the edges of everything around them, and it was alive. For a moment, Li Huowang thought he was hallucinating and shook his head. But then, right before his eyes, the thing split into two. As he stared at the two wriggling entities in front of Dan Yongzi, a hunch formed in his mind. Are these the creatures that will gather the ingredients for Dan Yongzi? Just as that thought crossed his mind, he saw Dan Yongzi lower his body, scoop up a handful of dirt and shove it into his mouth. Then, in an unnaturally distorted voice, he spoke to the creatures. His voice was bizarre, unnatural, yet the creatures understood him. As soon as Dan Yongzi finished giving his instructions, they quickly disappeared. When they departed, everything returned to normal. Dan Yongzi, looking pleased, said, "Don't worry. Even if the ingredients listed in the sacred text are difficult to obtain, I can still get them. It's a good thing I still have people outside to rely on." Li Huowang responded with admiration. "Yes, Master is someone who will definitely achieve immortality. Nothing in this world is too difficult for you. But Master, what were those things?" Dan Yongzi glanced at him and said, "It seems you still have much to learn. Those are the wandering gods mentioned in the sacred text." Due to the dangerous situations Li Huowang had been in for the past few months, he had never had the time to consider these things, nor had he taken the opportunity to truly contemplate the nature of the world he was now living in. What exactly was a mountain grandma? What were the wandering gods? None of these things had existed in his original world. If it weren't for the pork and lamb he had eaten here, he might have thought that nothing in this world was ordinary. Dan Yongzi placed the bronze bell back inside his sleeve and said, "This is a good treasure. I had to use a lot of my power just to take it." "Take?" Li Huowang asked. "Yeah, of course I had to take it from someone else. Do you think anyone would just give it to me for free?" Dan Yongzi said matter-of-factly. "That's what I should do if someone has something that I don't. I learned that lesson when I was 5 years old, the day someone snatched a bun from me. When I was younger, I robbed people and took their money. Then I started stealing techniques, treasures, even disciples. I've even taken the entire Zephyr temple for myself. And look, even the statues of the three deities haven't condemned me." Dan Yongzi's voice was filled with satisfaction. "You should listen carefully when adults speak. That is what it means to have manners. I'm only teaching you this because I treat you like my own family." Li Huowang hesitated for a moment before asking, "But Master, what if you can't take something away from someone else?" Dan Yongzi sneered. "Can't take it? Then I join forces with someone else to try and take it together. You're literate, yet you don't know how to use your brain? If I still can't take it, I'll poison them. If poisoning doesn't work, then I'll frame them. Do whatever it takes, use every underhanded trick possible. Just get what you need." Those few sentences alone were enough for Li Huowang to fully understand Dan Yongzi's way of doing things. He would stop at nothing, using any method necessary to obtain what he wanted. Li Huowang responded, "Master, you are quite wise." Dan Yongzi laughed coldly. "Yeah. So what if I can't read? So what if I don't understand many things? They called my ways vile and evil. Fine. Then I'll become an immortal and show them exactly who is stupid and vile." His last words came out as a shout, his ugly face contorted with rage. Li Huowang didn't know who Dan Yongzi was referring to, but it was obvious that there was a deep grudge between them. From that moment on, Li Huowang spent nearly all his time with Dan Yongzi, eating, sleeping, and researching the path to immortality together. During this period he refined the recipe bit by bit, making the sacred text's method appear increasingly credible. Before long, the ingredients Li Huowang had requested arrived. One of them was sticky, pale white, and covered in soft black fur. The other was a lump of faintly glowing black boils. The sight of them filled Li Huowang with both disgust and awe, disgust at their repulsive appearance, and awe at Dan Yongzi's ability to actually obtain them. "Master, should we refine them now?" he asked. Dan Yongzi shook his head. "No need. There's still some time before the new year. Let's have our New Year's Eve meal first." Li Huowang was momentarily stunned by these words. A New Year's Eve meal? Was this some kind of tradition? Without hesitation, he followed Dan Yongzi out of the pill refinement room, making their way to the cave where meals were typically eaten. The other three disciples, Chang Ming, Chang Ren and Xian Yuan, were already there waiting. When Dan Yongzi saw the empty table, his expression darkened. "Why have you not set places for the deceased disciples? Hurry and prepare their utensils. We must welcome them properly for the New Year celebration." Soon each dead disciple had their own set of utensils, placed neatly at the round table. Only then did Dan Yongzi's expression soften with approval. He took his seat at the head of the table while Li Huowang sat to his right. The left side remained empty, that seat was reserved for Jiang Kuan. "Bring out the dumplings." Assistants entered carrying a steaming plate of dumplings. The fragrant aroma filled the cave as they carefully used metal spoons to place the dumplings into everyone's bowls, including the ones prepared for the deceased disciples. Dan Yongzi chuckled. "Ho ho, the new year is almost here. Relax and eat." Despite his words, no one touched their food until Dan Yongzi took the first bite. He picked up a white dumpling with his chopsticks and placed it into his mouth, chewing with satisfaction. The pork lard and chives blend together quite well. He suddenly paused, biting down on something hard. "What's this? Coin? Ah, a sign of good luck." Li Huowang stared at the dumplings in his bowl for a long moment before finally taking a bite himself. Dan Yongzi watched him eat and grinned. "You all are lucky being able to enjoy dumplings like this. When I was your age, I didn't even know what dumplings looked like. I had only ever heard of how delicious they were. Then one year, during a New Year celebration, I caught a whiff of an amazing aroma coming from someone's house. That was the first time I saw dumplings. I didn't even bother playing with their beautiful daughter that day. I simply cut her down and went straight for the dumplings cooking on the stove. I must have eaten at least 1/2 kilogram of them. Back then the stuffing was the same, pork lard and chives." The other disciples only smiled weakly at the story, while Li Huowang quietly stuffed his cheeks with food. Dan Yongzi noticed the tears welling up at the corners of Li Huowang's eyes and sighed. Without saying a word, he picked up his own bowl and placed it in front of Li Huowang, giving him his share of dumplings. "Sigh. Looks like you've had a tough life too. Eat slowly. Don't choke." The New Year's Eve dinner of 5 continued, the only sound in the cave being the clinking of bowls and chopsticks. Just when Li Huowang thought they would move on to refining pills, he saw Dan Yongzi pull out a stack of red envelopes from his sleeve, handing them out to each disciple, including the dead ones. "Come now, the new year is almost here. Place them under your pillows." Dan Yongzi sighed as he watched them take the envelopes. "When I was your age, I had no elders to give me red envelopes." Dan Yongzi placed the final red envelope beside Zheng Kuan's bowl before turning to Li Huowang with a smile. "You don't need a red envelope. Come now, let's become immortals together and share the same longevity as the heavens and earth." Li Huowang smiled, his laughter light and cheerful. "As you wish, master. Let's head back to the pill room, start the furnace and refine the pills," Dan Yongzi instructed. "You will control the flames." "Yes, master." Then on the next day the pill refinement proceeded as smoothly as ever. But of course that scabby old man was naturally suspicious. He was dragging me along in his pursuit of immortality because he was worried that the recipe I had given him might be fake. Meanwhile, we watched as the master flawlessly inscribed the E-symbols, bringing the refinement process to completion. But that was fine. He wasn't afraid. "My dear disciple, you will take the pill first. Your master will protect you." "Thank you, master." Both of them sat in meditation. "Oh scabby old man, my dear master. You and your grand dreams of immortality will die with me today." The disciple swallowed the pill as the master observed him closely, analyzing whether anything would happen. So much primordial spiritual energy, it was as if the apprentice was sinking into an endless sea of energy. Now he could see it. Now he could feel it. He understood. He was truly stepping onto the path of immortality. The protagonist put on a grand display, as though he were lost in an illusion. Upon hearing of immortality, the master was finally convinced and decided to take the pill himself. This ancient Taoist was ascending to immortality as well. Both remained motionless, seated in meditation, facing one another. However, moments later the protagonist began coughing up blood. So much blood. His stomach was tearing him apart. He collapsed to the ground, laughing. But none of that mattered. His duty had been fulfilled. Are you still hanging in there, scabby old man? This was just a technique I copied from Shenxia novels. You will never become an immortal. Black tentacles started writhing out of the master's body. The only thing you will become is a ghost, the protagonist sighed, holding a pill in his hand, the same red pill that made the body burn with heat and surge with immense strength. And then, after swallowing it, he smirked. Hey master, are you deaf? I'm talking to you. A temporary burst of power surged through him. His eyes burned with a psychotic gleam. Without hesitation, he delivered a devastating punch to the master, smashing his face against the ground. Those eyes, those are the eyes of a demon. The master's face was twisted and disfigured. He let out a furious scream. You will not stop my ascension. Get away from me. He was teetering on the edge of immortality. The ancestors were coming to take him, even as blood poured from his mouth. He had lost control. His obsession with immortality had driven him completely insane. The protagonist's stomach twisted in unbearable pain. I really regret not bringing a knife to end this properly. His vision blurred. The world around him twisted. He was hallucinating. No, he was back in an operating room as if he were in a hospital. A voice was calling out to him, but it was calling him by two names. Wang. He looked up and saw Nana. Is she here because of me? Even if this is just an illusion, it's not so bad. Then he saw the doctor's face distort. The patient in bed 14 is losing consciousness. Preliminary diagnosis, food poisoning. Quickly, get the stomach pump for gastric lavage. Gastric lavage, my ass. This is a psychiatric hospital? Where the hell would you even get a stomach pump? The sound of medical equipment echoed, beep, beep, beep. If you're going to have hallucinations, at least make them logically consistent. Beep, beep, beep. Ho Wang. Li Ho Wang. He heard someone calling his name as he floated in a sea of blood. Hold on. You promised me. He opened his eyes, a fly landing on his face. Then suddenly his body convulsed and he started vomiting, purging everything foul inside him. He was still alive. How was that possible? Wait, if he was alive, then that meant Dan Yangzi was also alive. But when he turned around, what he saw was beyond insane. What the fuck? What the actual fuck am I looking at? 3 flowers gathered at the crown of the head, ascending to immortality? He saw his master, body completely disfigured, with angelic wings and multiple eyes. So this is how it feels, so this is what it is. So this is what it truly is. It turns out, this was the truth of the Tao cultivation. I understand it now. The cultivation of the Tao. I understand it now. He kept repeating the phrase over and over. But then, the monstrous structure that his master had become suddenly exploded, unleashing a gruesome rain of blood, scattering flesh and gore in all directions, leaving the protagonist completely drenched in red. Even he was stunned by the sheer amount of blood. But amidst the carnage, something caught his eye on the ground. A piece of the master's face. And then he started laughing hysterically. He. So it's official now. Lai Tu is really dead, right? But, why wasn't the protagonist dead as well? Those hallucinations, what were they really? What was he supposed to do next? Before he could think, 2 figures appeared before him. Hey, what kind of demon are you? Where is our master? Him? He's the one you're stepping on. That's him. The 2 senior disciples, Xianyang and the others, refused to believe it. You're lying. The master wouldn't die. Look at this face. He's really dead. Lai Tu had slaughtered countless people in his lifetime. He should have died long ago. But that wasn't why I killed him. It was purely personal resentment. Before he could finish speaking, the 2 disciples turned and bolted. At least let me finish before you run off. The protagonist rang the bell, calling out. Everyone gather here. Lai Tu is dead. You're all free to go home now. The others stared at him in disbelief. That piece of skin, was that really Lai Tu? No doubt about it. It was him. Let's hurry. Run, follow us. We can finally go home. Everyone leave now. Dan Yangzi is dead. We can all return home and celebrate the new year. Lai Tu is dead. Where are you all from, brothers? Let's travel back together. Brotherly, we can finally go home. But as they made their way out, a sound reached their ears. They turned their heads slightly and saw the 3 remaining disciples locked in a fierce battle. Xianyang. Hurry. Let's kill these 2 accomplices of Dan Yangzi. Then we can share the heavenly book together. Xianyang, if you don't want to die, get out of here now. The master taught you the Tao of alchemy. In a situation like this, do you really think you can stand against the two of us, who practice the Tao of the sword? So, in the end, this is all about the heavenly book. But that wasn't really a book that granted immortality. It was just an old scripture. Senior brothers, why don't you come with us instead? Xianyang, if you're not interested in the book, then leave now. Otherwise, we will kill you. Alright, so they will go first. Those three older brothers will keep fighting among themselves. We'll meet again. Then the protagonist begins to ring the bell. Everyone who wants to go home, follow closely behind. Don't get curious and don't look inside. The swords of the three older brothers show no mercy. Then they're finally out. We see them as if emerging from a cave into a forest. It looks like sunset with birds all around. Everyone is happy, at last they're going home. What joy. The sun is already high. Did he spend the whole night with the bald guy in the alchemy room? Senior brotherly, let's go too. Wait a moment, says Huowang as he gently holds her hand. Then he places something in her palm. These are the last words and addresses left behind by those who died here. After you leave, remember to find someone to go with you and take these back to their families. Senior brother, what do you mean he's not going home? Home. Forgive me, but Huowang no longer has a home. So he returns to the temple. Where else could he go? That place is all he has left in his memories. Speaking of which, today is the first day of the lunar month, and he hasn't eaten that disgusting black tai sui this month. The effect that suppresses the hallucinations is about to wear off? Even if it's not real, it doesn't matter. Let him see Nana one more time, just once is enough. Then, as he closes his eyes, he begins to sink into a deep ocean of blood, as if his mind is emptying. However, before he reaches rock bottom, he hears the sweet voice of the white-haired girl. Senior brother Li. At the same time, Nana pushes him from the other side. Li Huowang. Senior brother Li, let's go together. There's no need. It's alright here, he's used to being here. Well, since senior brother Li wants to stay, why don't they just leave? Be quiet. Don't you dare say that again. Everyone falls silent after hearing the sweet girl shout at them. Senior brother, if he can't go home, he can go to her home. Her home is very spacious and the east wing is empty too. Senior brother, he's not completely alone. Huowang, you still have her. Li Huowang. He can't give up on himself. Can he hear that? Beep, 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 son, you can't die. If he dies, how will his father and mother go on living without their son? Huowang, beep, beep, beep. Then once again that butterfly appears in the protagonist's eye. Li Huowang. Nana, that voice is yours, Li Huowang. He quickly gets up and tries to grab her. Nana, I knew that was your voice, hold me. Huowang. Promise me that no matter what he encounters, he will never give up. He has to live a good life, alright? Alright, Nana, I promise you. Senior brother Li, let's go. It's uncomfortable for her to stay in that position. Then he realizes that this whole time he has been speaking to her, and not to Nana. Or maybe she and Nana are the same person. Huowang doesn't know what to think anymore. Alright, here, take this back. None of us here can read it, so returning their last words is something he must do himself, senior brother Li. Wait, I can read it? But the other one places a hand over his mouth. Even if you could read it, it's better to pretend you can't right now. Can't you sense the atmosphere? Senior brother Li personally made a promise to them, so as a man of his word, he must honor their final words. Oh, alright, we'll start heading out now. First, gather all the food in this place so it doesn't run out on the road. Yes, senior brother Li. He still has one more thing to take care of. Strange, why can't he find that tai sui anywhere in the entire Qingfeng temple? Did it grow legs and run away? Without tai sui, he can't keep his hysteria under control. The only place left is Leida's alchemy room. Damn it, how did it get out of the cave and end up here? Could it have appeared here because of the Danyangzi fragment? Wait, why is this tai sui shrinking? So its life is connected to Danyangzi's? Hey, stay with me. If it completely retracts, what is he supposed to do about his hysteria? Didn't you want the Danyangzi fragment? Then he picks up a chunk of flesh, organs scattered across the floor. He'll give it to it now. He stuffs it into the monster's mouth, but even after it consumes part of Danyangzi, the situation only gets worse. What the hell is going on? After devouring Danyangzi's remains, this tai sui is shrinking even more. No, he can't waste it, not even if it dies. Dried food, travel expenses, and a few spare sets of clothes. They should have taken everything useful from Qingfeng Temple. This should last them for a good while. She wonders how senior brother Li is doing. As she gets closer, she sees everyone gathered, murmuring something. So, this was the thing senior brother Li wanted to handle on his own? Damn it, if he had known it was this, he never would have followed his lead. Then he starts vomiting. God knows if this thing will end up eating them too on the road. Then we see the protagonist devouring the entire monster, all of its organs, like some wild animal desperate for meat and starving. Senior Brotherly, I finally found you. Forgive me for this disgraceful scene. This Tai Sui can suppress his hysteria. But for some reason, it keeps shrinking and looks like it's about to disappear. He had no other choice but to do this. She seems to understand the reason and chooses to ignore the whole situation. His clothes are filthy, Senior Brother. She brought him fresh, clean clothes. Is there anything else Senior Brother needs to take with him? Let's go. There's still one more place to check. It's so quiet here. It seems the 3 older brothers have decided the winner. Senior Brother, have you finished fighting? Well, they're all dead. What a brutal scene. One of the brothers is impaled, another lies dead with a sword through his stomach. Senior Brother won't need this sword anymore, so he'll use it for now. Then he sees the sacred book again. This celestial book. If he leaves it here and it's discovered, he has no idea how many people it might harm again. So, with a swing of his sword, he tries to break the stone, but instead, the sword is the one that shatters. Dwan, the sword breaks into pieces, but the celestial book remains intact. It seems this celestial book might be considered a treasure for now. So why not take it with him for the time being? If he can't handle it, he can always trade it at a pawn shop for some travel expenses. Senior Brother Changren, he has a sword here, he'll take that with him as well. Rest in peace. Senior Brotherly, are we about to move on? Let's go. Let's leave this godforsaken place behind. Before they leave, we see the mountain catching fire. Let everything here burn cleanly. What kind of people and events will he encounter in the future? Suddenly he finds himself looking forward to them. Senior Brotherly, please slow down, her eyes hurt. She's crying, maybe it's because of her albinism? He then starts cutting a piece of cloth. Next time when the sun is high, you can use this fabric to cover your eyes. He ties it around, but she still can't see anything through it. That's alright, he'll hold her hand. Skinny child, is he done yet? Almost there, poot poot. Seriously, father, do you really have to rush me while I'm taking a crap? Lu family's troop youngest son Lu Xiaozai. Then he hears something in the forest. Who's there? Show yourself. Ha ha ha, so it's nothing. Maybe just his imagination. He probably misheard. But something behind him starts laughing. Then the scene changes, we see a carriage with people hiding inside it. Father, what are we going to do? Asks Lu family's troop eldest son Lu Jiren. Father, think of something, says Lu family's troop eldest daughter-in-law Luo Wanhua. What could he possibly do in this situation? Lu family's troop leader Lu Zhuangyuan. In this situation, the only thing he can do is beg, Ghost Grandfather, please spare his family. Everyone in his family has a bitter fate. They're only here trying to make a living. Tell me, do I look more like a human or a god? This being, it's here to request a seal? We see the image of an entity dressed entirely in red, truly resembling a god, or at least something deeply sinister. The man is kneeling begging. He can't answer this question in desperation. If he answers it wrong, his entire family will disappear. You look like a god. However, something makes him change his mind. No, like a human. However, Li ends up stepping on a branch, making a noise. That's not right either? It shouldn't be. He told you, Senior Brother, of course we'd find someone following this pile of crap. After all, it's still warm. That's disgusting. You idiot, you knew it was something gross, but you still lowered your head and followed it. Are you planning to eat that? Shut up for a minute. Damn it, Senior Brotherly, look, what is that? There's a face on both sides but no back of the head. What even is that thing? Father, look behind us. What are those monsters doing again? But in reality, it was just the group walking. Who the hell is that brat calling a monster? Is he looking for a fight? Everyone hold up here for a bit. More people coming to the show. What the hell are you? I'm a human being. Don't I look like one? You look like garbage. He then draws his sword. Who cares what the hell it is? Striking first is the best defense. Then he charges swiftly at the monster, throwing his sword with tremendous force. However, the monster dodges the attack with ease. If physical attacks are ineffective, then let's try this instead. He rings the cursed bell, causing the monster to become paralyzed. The father and child are stunned by what just happened. The monster begins to slowly disintegrate. The copper bell is effective. Then the monster starts to rupture, releasing a dark aura, until it finally vanishes without leaving a single trace behind. Master, thank you so much for your help. My humble family has nothing of real value, but yes, this is it. This cigarette clears the mind, it's a small tribute to show our gratitude. Thanks, old man, but he doesn't smoke. Do you know what we just encountered? Young Taoist, you don't know? That thing asking for a blessing. You're the one who drove it away, weren't you? Ichim, may I ask, sir, by any chance do you have a map of this area? We're not from around here and got a little lost in this forest. He doesn't have a map, but his family often travels through this region, so he knows all the roads here. Where are you heading, young Taoist? If we're going in the same direction, perhaps we could travel together. This Taoist seems to have real skills. That thing looked like it had latched onto us, so if we stay close, maybe this Taoist master can keep his family safe. However, our protagonist must first visit a few places. All of these brothers and sisters who accompany him were brought here by him. Therefore, he has the duty and the mission to return each one of them to their home. There are also some who will never be able to return home, whether because of abandonment, death, family problems, or other unresolved issues from before they were kidnapped. He has the moral and ethical responsibility to deliver each of these brothers back to their families, one by one. The old man becomes visibly shaken. However, he understands the situation. Young Taoist, take a look at what he drew. He used his pipe to sketch a rough map of the region on the ground. And so, where are we on this map you drew? The protagonist asks. Here on this spot of the map is Ho Shu. Below Ho Shu is Si Chi, and to the left of Si Chi is the kingdom of Nanping. We are currently on the road to Wuligang in this direction here. If they keep walking toward Wuligang, they will arrive near Janya town. If they continue walking toward Janya town, they will reach Shijing. Alright, I think I understand this map now. If you look closely, this world seems a bit like the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period from the past. There is no unified country or central government here, is there? Alright, thank you for the explanation. However, sir, if he wants to go to the kingdom of Liang, which path should they follow? The old man looks surprised by the question. Young Taoist, is he really trying to go to the kingdom of Liang? That place is very far from here, and besides, that land is still at war with our kingdom of Nanping. This war has lasted for several years now, and it is a very dangerous place to visit at the moment. The old man would not recommend going there. Everyone is left with a look of sadness, especially the girl. Don't worry, says the protagonist. He will certainly take her back to her home, and then he offers her a piece of warm meat. Young Taoist, if he really wants to go to the kingdom of Liang, he will have to pass through the city of Janya. If that is the case, they can travel together for this small part of the journey. So, how about we form a team? Senior brother Li's family is in the city of Janya. There are also some postal services in Janya city, and if they have the means to offer some copper coins, they can send messages throughout the entire kingdom. By paying, they will be able to help find some of the families of their brothers. City of Janya? He thinks for a moment about the proposal under the moonlit night, with the wind blowing against their faces. With a slap on his own thigh, he decides. Alright, sir. They will travel together to the city of Janya, and they will count on him to guide them along the way. Young Master Taoist, he is so kind. Everything can be easily discussed, says the old man happily. So they start walking through the same dark forest as before. However, a red smoke looking like blood watches them and laughs at them as if something were observing them. Then, on the following day, they exchange information among themselves. The old man, along with his children, performs theater shows as a way of making a living. And so, how is the business in this theater trade? Times are hard and business is even harder. After a severe drought, the entire city of Nanping suffered a great flood, and ordinary people are struggling even just to eat. Look over there, we can see some people in the fields. Then they both continue talking as they travel. The old man, smoking and riding on the donkey, explains the business situation in more detail. Since common people have no money and are struggling even to afford a basic meal, there are even fewer who are willing to watch performances, give tips, or spend money. So, are there no more rich people in these regions? Like the nobility or wealthy landowners? These rich people do not even bother to hire a theater group for a funeral anymore. They just finish it off with a meal. Not even for branch ceremonies. Then they see 2 children playing and watching the group as they pass by. The tall young man tries to communicate with them with a smile on his face, but he ends up causing the opposite effect. The children scream, "It's a ghost," and the other starts shouting for his mother. The old man says, "How can we, singers, compare ourselves to the skills of the young Taoist?" The children run away, scared by their ugly faces. The young Taoist is so powerful at such a young age that his future achievements are limitless. It's not all that, he says, there's no need for flattery. Then, as they continue traveling, he takes the opportunity to ask the old man a question. These lands have really been without water and remained under severe drought for a long time. In any case, is there any well-known sect in this country of Nanping? A sect with special abilities, for example, people like him? Yes, special abilities, yes, they do exist. There is a sect in the city of Shijing. They are very good at helping people have children. Called, what is it called again? The old man is already going crazy from smoking that pipe so much. Right. If he gets to Shijing, he just needs to ask someone on the street and they will know. Then one of the old man's sons interrupts the conversation. Father, look ahead. We have finally arrived at Wuligang. They see a very humble village along a dirt road with dead plants, no water, and a large cloud of smoke rising from the town. Young Taoist, let's move to an open space at the entrance of the village and begin our performance. All right. The Liu family's theater troupe is about to start the show. Set up the stage. In the next scene, we see the protagonist lying down on a pile of hay, resting and thinking about life. Shijing. He wonders what kind of sects exist in Shijing and what they actually do. After all, asking for a child does not seem very trustworthy. But since they dare to establish themselves in a big city, they are probably not an evil sect. Then, something is placed over his face. He quickly gets up, startled. Senior sister, why on earth did you remove the blindfold we had put on her again? It is still daytime. Her eyes are going to water again. However, she ignores him with a beautiful smile on her face, giggling. Senior brotherly, look at this bronze mirror. They use this mirror for makeup in the opera. It shows a clear reflection. Look, the reflection is really very clean. Then she points to the protagonist, showing him his reflection. But in desperation he shouts, hey, wait a second. Senior sister, back at the Qingfeng temple, did he really look like this? With this same face shape? Eyes, nose? Yes, senior brother, it has always looked just like the way it is now, as reflected in the mirror. What's the matter? Senior brother, is there a problem or something strange about his image, about his reflection in the mirror? Bai becomes worried by this extreme change in his mood. After all, he has often shown signs of being unstable. No, it's nothing, don't worry. Looking at his reflection more carefully, he realizes that his new face resembles his face back when he was in the hospital, but with an older appearance. Back at the hospital, he was still in high school. How could he be this old? No, his mind is a mess and his memories are fragmented. His life truly feels like a joke. Meanwhile, off to the side, people start gathering around the square as they notice a red canvas being unfolded. Then the theater performance begins. The old man is dressed in traditional clothing, with a few black smudges on his face and a weapon in hand. Ouch. His cruel uncle has thrown him out of the house. Now it is the girl's turn to join the performance. Like a lone wild goose in the middle of the snow. Like weeds at the side of the road, trampled by everyone. His daughter and she are suffering from hunger and cold, which are unbearable. They can only beg for food on the streets and the child starts crying from hunger. This is how the Liu family troupe performs. They earn their money through hard work. Everyone in the audience starts getting excited with the performance. Suddenly, the old man sees the protagonist from afar in the crowd, young Taoist. He runs over, abandoning the woman. Hello, young Taoist, he came at the perfect moment. What is the problem? The old man's business is facing some trouble. Could he help him? Master Liu, he does not know how to sing opera. He is afraid he will not be able to help him with his problem. No, young Master Taoist, he doesn't need to sing opera. It is something else he can help with. There is a rich local family here in Wuligang, the Hu family. Master Hu has just asked someone backstage to invite him. He wants me to perform a ghost play at his house. To perform a ghost play? Does he mean to perform a play for ghosts? Wait, Senior Li is surprised. Oh my god, certainly not. This so-called ghost opera is actually just performing a play in the ancestral hall, facing the ancestral tablets. It is nothing too serious. If it is only that, then what problems are there with this business? Why doesn't Master Liu handle it himself? Because, he then sighs before explaining, because this is also the first time he will be performing a ghost play and he feels a bit uneasy, he knows. So he would like to invite him, a Taoist master, to be there and help keep him calm. Master Liu, he apologizes, but this is something he cannot help with. He generally tries to avoid these kinds of things. There is no way he would go out of his way to get involved. In the next scene we see a bit more of the city with people moving through it. Then we see the protagonist talking to someone in an alley. Senior brother Li, we don't have much food left. Even if we eat in moderation it will only last 3 days. Is it because we have little money? She has a jade pendant that could be exchanged for money. She is worried about his innocence. Senior brother Li, There are no pawn shops in this village, so even if we wanted to exchange it for food, the villagers wouldn't have enough money. So, that's how it is. However, their conversation is interrupted by the old man. Hey hello young Taoist, hi young Taoist. Master Lu, please reconsider the request made by this old man earlier. Master who is very generous with his payments. As for what the other side is offering for this deal. The old man excitedly proclaims the amount. 10 taels of silver. Master who is offering 10 taels of silver. If the young Taoist master accepts, each of us will receive 5 taels. Converted into copper coins, that's 5,000 copper coins, young Taoist master. Bai becomes interested and curious about the proposal made to Li. How much grain could this buy? It should be enough for us to travel for a good while. 60%. How about he keeps 60 and the old man takes 40? Young Taoist, he is begging you. It's not easy to make that much money these days. The protagonist hesitates, thinking about what to do. However, an unexpected doubt arises. Master Lu, is there a blacksmith in this village? He asks while holding the bell. What? A blacksmith shop? He will take the job, but first he needs to find a blacksmith and repair this bell because as you can see it's dented. Only after that will he be able to help. Then we hear the sound of a hammer striking hot iron. He starts to complain. Can't hammer, can't melt, so how can he fix this handbell? What kind of stinky problem is this? Blacksmith of Wooligang. So, any solution? He asks, shaking the bell. These days, one after the other. Only crazy people come here. Come here, damn it, give me a hand helping with this madness. Boy, are you using your strength? He's already using all his strength. They try to straighten the bell with a pair of tongs. However, young Taoist, this seems complicated. Both are exhausted from their futile efforts. Damn it. This is strange, what kind of copper is this thing made of? How is it so hard? It's just a damn bell, it should have been fixed by now. Young man, the old man remembers, the last time I took this treasure it was already dented. But that didn't stop me from using it. How about we head to the ancestral hall first? Master who must be getting impatient. The protagonist looks irritated and starts searching through his clothes. Then he finds a red pill, the one that makes the body warm and grants supernatural strength for a while. So there's no choice. I'll try to do this on my own. Hey kid, the two of us couldn't do it and you think you can just do it alone? Don't try to act like a smartass. Oh my god. Then he begins to see something incredible happening in front of him. A red aura spreads around the forge, making the place even warmer. This is truly amazing. We see the protagonist effortlessly straightening the bell by himself, power emanating from his eyes as he gains incredible strength. It seems the pills still work, especially in this world outside. The restoration is successful, and the bell is now in perfect condition. I told you not long ago that this young Taoist is incredibly powerful, right? Yes, that was truly amazing and there's no explanation for what just happened. What the hell did he do? I saw him put something in his mouth before this explosion of strength. Master who really invited a specialist to help this time. After some time talking, the protagonist steps away from everyone and heads to a more secluded spot, near a river. He picks up the bell and, before heading to the ancestral hall, he should test the bell first. It seems to be repaired. Next, he just needs to test it the same way the bald man did. First, strike the bell with a light force. As he strikes the bell, the water begins to move evenly. It worked, he can imitate what that damn bald man did. Little by little, a monster begins to form from the water. Success, even though only one old man was summoned. Still, it's not the same as that damn man who managed to summon 5 monsters at once. Alright, the next step is just like the bald man. Grab a handful of dirt and shove it into my mouth. Then he starts chewing the dirt near the river. Can it understand my words? He asks, his voice distorted. Yes, it can understand. The monster really understood and spoke the same language. Alright, can it be used by me? He wonders. His voice, why is it so distorted? Once, 3 months of life exchange. Do less, this is expensive. The fish monster responds in the same way. Do less, this is expensive. So, commanding his master once actually costs 3 months of life, and there's no room for bargaining. Dissipate. It seems that he will have to use it sparingly in the future. That damn bald man was able to use those monsters because he had many years of life due to the pills. Then, finally, night arrived with a beautiful moonlight. The ancestral hall of the Hu family. Many people have already gathered in front to enjoy the show. Ah, young Taoist, you've finally arrived at the location. Come this way, I'll take you to the main hall. And then, how are the preparations, everything's ready? Just now, Master Who said that in previous years he also hired other groups to perform ghost operas and nothing happened. Young Taoist, don't worry. Alright. If Master Who has ensured it, then there won't be any problems. Hey young Taoist, look, this is Master Who, this is the young Taoist I told you about. With him here, it's guaranteed that everything will be safe. Oh? He will be relying on both of you tonight. Then we are introduced to the homeowner. Hu King, the wealthy master of Woolagang. But Master Lu, he remembers there being women in his troupe. Don't worry Master Hu, the women are just preparing outside and won't break your rules. If that's the case Master Lu, once the ancestors come out to watch the opera, we, the descendants who invited the performance, must leave. Please take good care of the ancestral hall. As for the opera, choose something cheerful, as the ancestors told us in our dreams that the underground is very quiet, and they want to watch something festive. Alright Master Hu. Also, when the opera begins, the living cannot speak to the performers so the ancestors aren't disturbed while they listen. Don't worry Master Hu, absolutely no rules will be broken. How strange all these rules and commotion. Well, anyway, no matter how you look at it, it doesn't seem like anything will go wrong. Let's hope everything goes well. Then the show begins. The Duke Gong likes wine and listens to frivolous music. Jie Junshin asks about the dance posture. King Liang is tyrannical and the people's lives are difficult. The heroes of Namping learned about water and fire. Since ancient times, the rise of the ambitious has brought suffering to ordinary people. As the saying goes, success is built upon 10,000 withered bones. The protagonist watches everything from afar. Truly everything is going well. On stage, the atmosphere is lively and bustling, but the audience is in complete silence. Don't think too much about it, it's rather frightening. And as good as the music is, staying up all night to listen to it still makes you sleepy. It's lively and bustling, but the audience is in complete silence. Don't think too much about it, it's quite scary. The characters in the play begin to fight and put on a beautiful performance. But no matter how good the music is, staying up all night to listen to it still makes you sleepy. It seems that ever since he arrived here, he's been getting sleepier. He seems to fall asleep easily. This isn't good as he accepted the money. The reality starts to shift as he falls asleep, as if he's returning to the hospital. He really can't sleep while working. However, he suddenly awakens. Something is wrong, why did the singing suddenly stop? Mr. Lu, why did you stop suddenly? Then when he looks at the Lu family he sees a huge monster with a red aura. Good show, here is your reward. So it's that ghost again, I thought it had died. He then makes copper coins rain down, as if he were truly a deity, even the moon turns red. A show of flying coins. However, Master Lu's daughter is terrified, almost unable to breathe. Yet, her father places his hand over her mouth, saying nothing, just stay quiet. Then the monster approaches her, well done, that was a nice show, scaring her even more. Look here, your reward. And again he makes more and more copper coins appear, this ghost is truly rich. After making so much money rain down, he quickly flies off to another location, while the protagonist simply observes the situation. The monster quickly runs into the house, sits on the throne, and demands that the show continue, the entity wants to keep watching. Master Lu, this evening's performance shouldn't end, let's continue? Young Taoist, this. The old man is very scared, this wasn't supposed to happen. Then the protagonist takes a step forward. Why are you still standing there? Don't stop, keep singing and performing your show. Our benefactor has already given us a generous reward. Then he stands beside the monster, also wanting to watch the show. Come on, don't stop. The demon demands that they keep singing. Our benefactor has already given us a generous reward, now it's time for them to do their part with the show. Even though the three are afraid, they decide to go through with it. Alright, young Taoist. They will start the show again, apologies for the mistake. A round and bright moon rises early in the east. That thing has come, but it isn't even attacking. What the hell does it want? I'm thinking of my dear old mother in the hallway. Clang clang, clang clang. The demon looked like a child, excited by the show it was watching. Joyful and happy. It even claps along to the rhythm. This thing can't be here just to watch the opera, right? Wait, what's happening? It's getting blurry? The demon begins turning into a red mist. Clang clang rising, diffuse. Following him, my lord. How? The mist begins to approach the members of the performance, slowly drawing nearer as it listens to them sing. Especially to the girl, who starts to feel cornered. It's like a sheep facing a predator. Then the demon appears in front of her, laughing, and with the enormous claw of his hand, he pierces the girl's head. Although he doesn't actually harm her, it's more as if he passes through her mind and out her mouth, so that, in the end, he can extract something from within her. Something that looks like a seal and at the same time like a candle. The demon had waited all this time to obtain it and then decides to eat it. All of this happens while the protagonist watches the situation unfold. The girl appears to be physically fine, although when she realizes the demon has eaten something that belonged to her, she goes into a state of shock and even begins drooling from her mouth. And with that, the demon became more active, revealing its mouth as if there were several souls inside its stomach. If you didn't have this unpleasant habit like humans do, of taking, then it seems what he consumes is not a candle or sweets, but rather the fear produced in people's hearts, right? We see his image facing the demon as if there had already been many victims, each one consumed along with the terror in their hearts. Are you angry? That means he struck a nerve. Master Lu, don't stop. If she's afraid of being blinded by the strong wind, she just needs to close her eyes and keep performing. He calls out from inside the great house. Just believe what he says and everything will be fine. Still, they seem hesitant to trust him, especially the girl who struggles to give him that vote of confidence. Yet even with the demon nearly taking full hold of her fear, she begins to sing again. The second clock ends, the shift and the change begin, and I sit in restless silence, my sleep uneasy. I have not failed the common people of Gu County. This golden decree calls upon me, for this reason? She sings with anger, and the demon begins to enjoy it once more. Aha, tell me, does he resemble a human or a god? The question is directed at the protagonist. You resemble a demonic spirit formed from a double-yolked egg, and with one sword strike, he tries to cut the demon. However, he ends up failing. Healing and health, just listen to the sounds of the fight inside the building. At 3 o'clock in the morning, a round and bright moon lights up the courtyard. The song and the performance continue, even with the intense fight between the two. The girl and the boy keep dancing, even surrounded by all that red mist that signifies the demon's presence. The girl, upon snapping out of the emotional shock, is startled to see our protagonist in the sky, fighting. He is trying to kill the creature, but in the end, when he throws the sword, it flies past the old man and nearly kills him. However, while he is thrown far away by the demon, the book containing the sacred scriptures ends up slipping out from his body. And when he manages to pull it back, since it was tied to him, he realizes that this stops the demon from continuing to harm him. Yes, these scriptures really do contain some kind of overwhelming power. After all, even a monster like this one is frozen in fear. And even wounded by a purple energy emitted from the stone that holds the scriptures. He hadn't expected that. This thing truly fears the celestial scripture. That is going to be his advantage to win this fight. The demon now seems to want to retreat, because even it can't stand against that cursed stone. Aha, it looks like fortune has turned. Now it's his turn to counterattack with everything he's got, even if it means using that damned stone. And we see one of the most beautiful scenes so far in this manhwa. He stands in contrast to the red moon, on a night devastated by darkness. Yet there is an intense glow of purple-black light shining from the sacred scripture. At the same time, the bell hanging from his body is clearly visible. The demon is enraged and charges at him, and with that, we witness a brief clash between the two mists, the red and the purple. He is literally using a stone to strike the demon, or at least trying to hit him. But the demon manages to dodge, causing the stone to slam into the ground and leave a hole right in the middle of the courtyard. Go to hell, he will drag the demon to hell here and now, even if it means sacrificing himself. And in a desperate moment, using all his strength, he hurls the stone with the sacred scriptures straight at the demon. But he ends up failing. After all, the monster had hidden itself within the walls. Damn it, he says, frustrated. Can this thing from the dawn even pass through walls? Disappear? Consider yourself lucky for having escaped so quickly. We see the damage he left on the wall while using the stone, and the funniest part is that the stone remains completely intact. Then the old man approaches him with the sword in hand. Young Taoist, here is your sword. My sword fell near your side? Thank you, Master Lu. As he takes the sword, he begins to hear a demonic laugh. It's coming from Master Lu. He has been possessed. Tell me, do I look more like a human or like a god? His appearance has completely changed, with a wicked grin and glowing red eyes. Wait, this isn't good. This Master Lu is a fraud. He shouldn't have taken the sword. His hands are full. Then the old man's hands begin to transform. He now looks like a ghost as he tries to grab him. Penetrating, he manages to sink his claws into his body. The demon got what it wanted, to reach the protagonist's body. Finally, foolish human. Now tell me, does he look like a human or like a god? But he stays completely calm. After all, this was all part of his plan. There's no way for the demon to escape him now. So he begins ringing the bell in front of the possessed old man. We see several golden scriptures start to appear around the demon, and then, one of the spirits that responds to the bell's call swallows the demon whole. He continues to ring the bell while the monster is devoured by the spirit. Master Lu's face begins to become disfigured, as if it were melting. In the end, only an empty shell is left behind. It's finally over. It turns out the real body of that thing was the shadow on the ground. No wonder cutting its body in half didn't work. Checking the time, it's almost 5 in the morning. At last it's over. The intense glow of the night, with the reddish moon and petals scattered through the wind. Yet he begins to hear a song. The God of Joy sings. The God of Joy smiles. Well-dressed and courteous. Kind and warm. What the hell? This demon still isn't dead. He then rings the bell faster, causing the spirit to devour once again this small remnant left of the demon. However, this time 2 of them appear. The God of Joy dances. The God of Joy enjoys himself. The ink on the red paper is fresh. The God of Joy is angry. The God of Joy is sad. The skull lanterns shine bright like the sea. And more demons begin to appear, each with a different shape. What the hell is this cursed thing? The God of Joy is hungry. The God of Joy is starving. In the left hand are the heart and the liver. In the right hand are the intestines. Is this ever going to end? The protagonist sees a sea of corpses, as if he were witnessing the very vision of hell. The village chief has come to welcome the God of Joy. Then the entire mansion becomes engulfed by demonic power. He has fallen into a trap. We see him as if bound by several spiritual ropes wrapped around his body. Welcome. And his face is beginning to become distorted. No, he must not think of that name. He tries to resist the demon. But something is happening before his eyes. He cannot quite understand what it is. He is trying to pierce his way out of the heavens. He can no longer keep watching. Trembling, he shuts his eyes. Then, a hand begins to emerge at his side. What the hell is this? Where did that hand come from? The hand grabs hold of all the evil and finally manages to shatter the illusion that had been cast until now. Finally, the protagonist begins to see the sun. And suddenly, he realizes that he had been in the chair the whole time. Phew, he was saved. With that hand now, he managed to hold on until dawn. That hand, whose hand was it? He stands up. It shouldn't be the Lu family troupe. The sound of their performance has not stopped since then. Then some of the elder stones from that house begin to move. Wait, was it you who helped him? Then they start to fall. Even if it wasn't you, there's no need for such a strong reaction. However, the hand appears again, touching his shoulder, calling him child, just like his old master used to. Then, on the next day as the sun was rising. Excellent, excellent. The ancestors are very pleased with this offering. The incense and candles on the table were completely burned out, such an auspicious sign. Son of Hu King, Laji Hu Jiang. The plump man who arranged the performance. Mr. Lu, you gave it your all. Allow me to offer a toast in your honor. It's nothing truly, this old man was simply doing his duty. Then a child tugs at the old man's clothing. Were you the one singing in the ancestral hall last night? He heard everything from outside. You sing really well. Grandson of Hu King, Hu Xiaoya. He as long as young master who enjoyed it. Someone. Take the young master back to his room to study. He doesn't want to study. Put him down. Mr. Lu shows a look of sadness. Jiang tries to shift the mood. My apologies for this little commotion. Here are the 10 taels of silver we agreed upon, Master Lu. Please accept them. He has other matters to attend to, so he won't be staying any longer. Hee. Thank you for the reward, Master Hu. Then they finally finish their conversation and Lu's children speak to him. They finally finish talking. She wants to eat caramelized pork belly and roasted chicken. So while she runs off to get the food, Lu removes the dish from the table. Come over here, young one. Young Taoist, please eat first. What to eat? You all go ahead and eat first, don't worry about me. The Hu family had prepared truly rich and hearty dishes. It would be a shame if the young Taoist didn't try them. No rush to eat, Master Lu. Last night, you saw those memorial altars all collapse at once, didn't you? How would he know about that? She was singing on stage with her eyes closed the entire time. Is that so? The sound from last night, although very faint, was definitely unmistakable. That was the bald man's voice. No matter what world he's in, only that man would call him boy. But these collapsed ancestral altars and the vanished God of Joy, none of it makes any sense. Could it be the 3 flowers gathered at the crown of his head? Could he have truly become an immortal? Ascended to immortality? No. The cultivation method and the elixir were things he invented himself. There's no way he could have become an immortal. Then what exactly is he now? Young Taoist, what are you thinking about? Now we're all one family, if you have any concerns just ask. Whether it's true or not, all he can do now is head to the city of Shijing first, and then find the Jingda gate that Scholar Lu mentioned. If Danyangzi really did become an immortal, maybe he'll find something out over there. He's fine, he's just not feeling very hungry. You can go ahead and eat first. Young Taoist, wait. Take some of these dishes with you. He still hasn't given you the agreed 6 taels of silver. Wait a minute, young Taoist. Then night finally falls. Everyone gathers and lights a huge bonfire under the starry sky. As they prepare food and chat, the two of them are up in a very tall tree. Senior Brother Li, where did all this delicious food come from? Last night, did something happen? Then he begins telling her everything that happened. The Hu family's performance, demons appearing during the play, and the strangest part, hearing the voice of the old master. Last night. Well, that's more or less how it all went. We see that the moon is shining brightly tonight. Senior Brother Li, she's truly sorry it was them, useless as we are, who dragged you into this. If it weren't for us, you wouldn't have had to go through so much. This has nothing to do with you. Since that thing was able to reach the ancestral hall of the Hu family, it means it had already set its sights on us long ago. Even if the events of last night hadn't happened, we would have ended up crossing paths sooner or later anyway. And of course, a memory comes of when she saved him. It's truly hard to say who will be the burden in the future. Then he finally takes the initiative and holds her hand. However, reflexively, she pulls her hand away, her face completely red. She finally gathers the courage, takes the initiative, and grabs his hand. At last, our couple takes their first steps toward happiness. The two stay close together in that tree under the moonlight. The next day, everyone starts walking again. Little Lord Taoist, Wuligang isn't far from the city of Jianya. At our pace, it should take about 4 or 5 days to get there. City of Jianya, huh? He remembers that Azoa Wu's home is in Jianya. How are you feeling, Zhao Wu? Happy to be going back home? Oh. What's the point of someone useless like him going back home? He can't lift anything with his hands, can't carry anything on his shoulders. He'd just be another useless mouth to feed, taking up space. Everyone feels sad upon hearing Zhao's words. After all, even though some of them could still use their hands, many had no home or family to return to. They had literally been imprisoned their entire lives by a madman chasing immortality. Who said Zhao Wu is useless? Since we've got free time while walking, he's going to teach you alchemy. You won't need to do any physical labor and can calmly focus on learning something new. Try to remember as much as you can. If nothing else works out, you can still become a traveling doctor and won't go hungry. Alchemy. But how would he even have the means to practice it? Right. Senior Brother Li, he doesn't want to learn alchemy. Would you be willing to teach me how to read instead? He wants to learn how to write and read. Everyone is surprised and also wants to learn how to read. You all want to learn too? Yes. Why does everyone get so excited just at the mention of reading? Little Lord Taoist, do you know how to read too? He knows a little. Why? Do you want to learn as well? Can he learn too? Why not? Everyone who wants to learn can learn. Since all of you want to learn to read, then he's going to start teaching right now. Then the old man comes running back. Father? Why are you here? Weren't you up front with Taoist Li? Shut your mouth. The girl is surprised by her father's reaction. Wanhua. Grab all of our dried meat. Okay, let me look. This is all the dried meat we have left, father. Why so little meat? She wanted to save more, but you didn't give her much money. We did earn something from that performance, but most of it went to that Taoist. It was our family that did everything alone. Hey, talk less. You know father doesn't like it when we question his decisions. Father, are we going to eat dried meat tonight? This is my offering prepared for the tribute. Judging by the looks on your faces, even if he explained it, you wouldn't understand. Boy, come with me. When you meet the little Lord Taoist later, do exactly as he tells you. What are we going to do, father? Don't worry about that. The little Lord Taoist is a noble figure. This is for your own good. As long as you follow him, you won't need to perform anymore. Father, he doesn't want me to perform anymore? Then he begins teaching everyone how to write, using the ground itself as a chalkboard or paper. Little Taoist. Leader Lu, did something happen? Yes, something did, Little Lord Taoist, look, Before he could finish his sentence, the old man is interrupted by the child. Chief, wait for him. He came from very far away to perform with them. Young master Hu, what are you doing this far out? Don't joke like that. Hurry and go back so you don't worry your father and the rest of your family. The chubby boy is nearly dying after finally running for a bit. No, he's not going back to that place. He wants to perform with all of them. He absolutely loved the dance and the performance. He'll never forget the look on his father's face when young Master Hu of the Hu family shouted that he wanted to learn how to sing opera. Back then he had no idea what singing opera really meant, but he would soon find out. Nonsense. I spent a fortune to hire a tutor to teach you how to read and write. It's bad enough that you don't study properly, and now you want to become an opera singer? Father, not another word. Performing opera is one of the lowest occupations there is. He wants you to rise above, and instead you seek disgrace. Shameful. Then he slaps the boy in the face. Father, he was wrong. He'll study harder. Isn't that enough? No wonder. Every time after a performance, Father would never let them interact with the patrons. So that's why. Is that really how the world sees us? Then in the next scene we see the protagonist lost in the forest. Where is this place? Where are Bai Ling Miao and the others? He sees something that catches his attention. Light. He better take a look. He sees 3 red figures in the middle of the darkness. Sorry to bother you. Did you see, son? Wang? Senior Brother Li? The 3 most important women in his life appear. Thank God it's you. Wait, something's wrong. How could Yang Na and his mother be there together with Bai Ling Miao? No, there's something strange about this. He can't move forward. No, he can't stop either. His limbs won't obey him. Then a hand appears behind him, helping him move. Excellent, excellent. Very good. The medicinal manual was also brought. My son, let's ascend to immortality together. We see a giant eye staring straight at the protagonist, resembling his former master. Open your eyes now. Then he finally wakes up as if from a nightmare. Senior Brother Li. What happened? Senior Brother Li, did you have another nightmare? A dream. Just a dream. You must be hungry, Senior Brother Li. She has some buns here. Would you like to eat? We don't have any more money, do we? Where did you get the money to buy the buns? How about that? She sold her gold bracelet. Gold bracelet? Then he remembers, it was the first contact he had with her. Hadn't he given it to Yang Na? No, Yang Na doesn't exist. In the end he gave it back to Bai Ling Miao again. Senior Brother Li, you've been carrying this burden alone for far too long. There's nothing more I can do. So, this is the only way she can help. She had already helped a lot over the past few months, whether by supporting him or assisting with the escape plan. As soon as everything is settled, he's going to buy her an even bigger gold bracelet. She gets shy at his words. After all, it sounded like a future marriage proposal. Alright, she'll be waiting for him. Then they finally arrive in the city. Jianya Town. A vast center full of people, merchants, and large structures. Master Lu, that sect in Shijing you mentioned earlier. Aside from the reputation of granting children, what else do you know about that place? So, he's never even set foot in there. But if he had to guess, it's probably just an old master with a bunch of novice monks reciting scriptures. Senior Brother Li, aren't we going to stay in Jianya for a few more days? No, we're not. The final wishes were all entrusted to Zhao Wu, who is on his way back home. He'll ask an escort agency to deliver them everywhere. Staying here wouldn't bring us any benefit. Then, in that same place they see Zhao Wu sitting with a stranger. Senior Brother Li, he didn't go home. Zhao Wu? Why the hell did he come back again? For what reason? His father thought he was a useless cripple. A long time ago he told Zhao Wu that maybe he hadn't been kidnapped. Maybe his own father had sold him. Qingfeng Temple, Chun Xiaoman. He's completely covered in hair like an animal. Not even a tiger eats its own cubs. He's imagining his father as someone far too cruel. He was the one sold by his own parents. For just 2 taels of silver. They sold him like cattle, and didn't look back even once. So in the end, it's Senior Brother Li who is too kind. You know what? A tiger won't eat its cubs, but some people are far crueler than tigers. Xiaoman, calm down, Xiaoman. Hey, so, Chun Xiaoman, do you still want to go back home? Of course he does. He wants to make them pay for what they did. And you, Zhao Wu? What's your plan? He wants to keep traveling with all of you. Alright then, in that case, let's all eat. Shopkeeper, take our order. He's starving. Coming right away, dear guest. Let's take a break. After we eat, we'll buy whatever we need for the journey. Alright. Young Taoist, please come down and rest for a bit. There are still some buns left. Please eat something. This old man will take watch in your place. Anything unusual in the camp? Nothing particularly special. Except that De Gur went into the forest a long while ago, and still hasn't come back. Should we send Xiucai and Jurin to go look for him? Just take over the watch, Master Lu. He'll go find his man himself. No need to trouble you with that. Yes, yes. Then please be careful, young Taoist. So he heads out in search of Dagur. Idiot, you out here, idiot? Strange, what is that idiot doing here? Could he have come all the way here alone? Then he notices a man near a stone. Wait, who's that? Is that him, the idiot? Michuofo. It's a random man in monk robes, eating some kind of offering. Did you come here for something? Michuofo? Are you a disciple of the Vajra sect?
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps. And for more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see another part. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time. Bye-bye.